talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your latest sports headlines, I'm Matt Hutchinson. This club's story inspires me. The words of Jack Wilshere after being officially appointed as the new Luton manager. Simon Jordan has told talkSPORT it's a great opportunity for him.
I was very suitably impressed with Jack, more impressed than I anticipated I would be when I was speaking to him. There's a lot more to Jack Wilshere than people might have seen and might have think they know. He's quite a thinker of the game.
Luton sits 11th in League One after back-to-back relegations. Chris Powell will be Wilshere's number 2. Elsewhere this lunchtime, Ollie Watkins is out of England's World Cup qualifier against Latvia tomorrow, which is of course live right here on talkSPORT. The striker hasn't recovered from a knock in the Wales game. Paul Gascoigne says the happiest moments of his career came at Rangers. Gazza has also told White and Jordan about getting into trouble one time with Walter Smith.
He went out writing, "You better get me a brace tomorrow." I went, "OK then." I went to the shop and bought a brace. I didn't realise the brace was 2 goals, so I bought him a brace. Gaffer. He went, "No, I've been 2 goals. Lucky enough, I got a hat-trick."
There's plenty more on our interview with Gazza, of course, at talksport.com. Jordan Pickford has agreed a new long-term deal at Everton. talkSPORT understands it'll keep the keeper on Merseyside till 2029. On to cricket now, and Pat Cummins has admitted it's unlikely to make the first Ashes test. The Aussie skipper is struggling with a back problem. Meanwhile, Andrew Flintoff has told talkSPORT he never wanted the England captaincy down under in 2006, but felt he was expected to take it. And you can hear our full interview with Fred over on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
Donald Trump's been given a long-standing ovation before addressing the Israeli parliament after all remaining hostages were freed by Hamas. And 2 men have appeared in court charged with murdering the Lost Prophets frontman and paedophile Ian Watkins in prison. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
This afternoon, we're expecting some sunshine in Scotland as well as northern and western England. Mostly cloudy in the south and east with the odd spot of drizzle.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT Weather this afternoon. Andy, please tell us what's coming up.
Coming up over the next 3 hours, we're in the England camp ahead of Latvia tomorrow night. We'll discuss Scotland's tough night at Hampden and Danny Röhl for Rangers. And ITV football frontman Mark Pugac tells us how he fared at yesterday's World Conquer Championships.
Yeah, I can only imagine Roy Keane's face. It would have been Saipan-like when he said, "What are you up to this weekend, Mark?" "Taking part in the World Conquer Championships."
Cougars and Conkers.
Yes, we'll find out more about that later. We're also after the daft things you said to famous people, and we'll reflect on the Super League Grand Final and look at the shocks in the England squad ahead of the Ashes in a fortnight's time.
There's all this plus Danny Kelly on Ireland, both of them, how the Pharaohs continue to punch above their weight, and Dean Saunders previews Wales versus Belgium. Should be a good game today.
Should be, yeah. Looking forward to that. 5 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, Paul. Well, not much in my books. I think of a number between 1 and 100.
Really?
No, I
did a bit like you. I watched Scotland with mouth slightly agape. last
Well,
night.
I watched the last 5 minutes of them hanging on. It was very funny.
It was, we're gonna have a chat with Stuart Weir a little bit later on, but it was a bizarre performance, and they had a goal chalked off Belarus that I think in the Premier League probably wouldn't have been, And they were fortunate, really, but they got it done. That's the important thing.
It's not very good, are they? It's hard to see them getting a result.
I just think, last night especially,
In both games they were poor, weren't they?
Yeah, sort of Ben Doak and Robinson. Apart from the ones that mattered towards the end, every crossing, be it in the first man, it just was all a bit lacklustre. And even the manager said that. We're going to talk to Troy Deeney about it. Everything was set up. They had the good result the other day. Belarus at home. The crowd are up for it. The players are up for it. So I wonder what the dynamic is as a player when you go out sometimes. And as a team, you've probably felt brilliant. Everything's in place. And then you stink the place out. Although, look, we should remember they did win.
Oh, they won.
But still. Anyway, we'll have a chat with Troy about that. He's also interviewed Javi Gracia, his old manager, today. So we'll see how that went. Talk a bit of Adam Wharton and other matters besides. You had a story for me earlier on. We're asking the listener today about the daft things you said to famous people. This was it Stan Smith?
Yeah, the great tennis player and
shoe magnate.
Shoe.
Do you think? How much of that do you see? Does he see a piece of that? If anybody is, I'm sure I should have looked it up. I mean, Adidas. Do you think they did a buyout?
Oh God knows.
Because if they
still sell, don't
if they turn around to Stan's people and said, we'll give you a penny a pair or something.
Yeah.
He'd be a rich man. Whereas if they said, we'll give you 50 grand as a buyout or whatever.
Has Stan got people?
Stan's got people.
Well,
Stan would have had people back in the day. But they are still selling, aren't they? Still a big shoe.
No, they are, definitely.
Yeah, singular.
Anyway, so this was a piece in the Sunday Times travel section. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Read this, but I came across this little anecdote that fascinated me. Stan said, I've been coming to London for Wimbledon for 50 years.
Yeah.
Missing it only once. I just love walking around the city and taking it all in. One time, someone came up to me and said, my friend told me your ashes were buried in the centre court of Wimbledon.
Yeah.
I said, well, I think that's a bit premature. It was bizarre. Well, it was really. So the daft thing, when you meet somebody famous and you get a bit nervous and you say something really daft like that. So it's one of those.
So daft things you said to famous people. Looking back on it, you feel we did have years and years ago. We talked about this, and someone was in a tailor's shop. And Chris Waddle was there, and the tailor had a sort of tape measure on him back. He had a suit jacket which was covered in chalk and pins.
Yeah.
He had a pair of trousers on, and the guy was checking it all out.
Yeah.
And the fellow walked in, saw the two of them. He said, "Oh, hello, Chris. Being measured for a suit."
No, I'm digging the road up.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So some of the daft things you manage in the moment, because you get a bit embarrassed, don't you? Everybody, you see someone famous. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J 03717 223344. If anybody does know how much Stan Smith gets per pair, I'd love to know. And the big question for me today involves the great Ronnie Wood, guitarist with the Faces of the Stones. Mm-hmm. And Ronnie says he has ditched Eggs Benedict. Sorry, no, he hasn't ditched Eggs Benedict. He's embraced Eggs Benedict. He has ditched booze and drugs for Eggs Benedict.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Which feels like a fair trade-off.
I'll say so.
So two things. It gives us one of those second mentions, that thing where they have to find another phrase for something. Because they can't say the words Egg Benedict again in the sun. So he said the teetotal guitarist says he looks to wolf down a portion of the US breakfast classic.
Oh, right.
All I would say is, when is an Eggs Benedict not an Eggs Benedict? I would argue when it hasn't got hollandaise sauce on it.
Well, without the hollandaise sauce, it's just no
because
Benedict. Ronnie says so you are listening to talkSPORT, but it is an international week. So Ronnie says in this piece, I love the Eggs Benedict, but I don't have the hollandaise sauce. Well, basically then, you're having ham and eggs. You're having a Dr. Juice breakfast, aren't you? Green eggs and ham. He says, I occasionally have it with scrambled egg. Well, you're having scrambled egg and smoked salmon. Well, you're having scrambled eggs. Yeah. So anyway, I'd argue... There's a whole load of them, but without the hollandaise sauce, it's nothing.
Well, are you going to tell Ronnie or am I?
I'm going to get Benedict Blancmange.
We know that Jimmy... We know Jimmy White sometimes listens. So, Jim, if you're listening today, can you get a message through to Ronnie, your mate, and tell him, unless it's got hollandaise sauce in it, he's got to stop using that phrase for the US breakfast classic.
Can I just say the most exciting sporting event of the weekend was Graham versus Siena in the final, the penalty shootout style final in Mel and Sue's win-win-win. Have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't.
The most exciting game show I've seen for years. It was incredible.
The most exciting game show you've seen.
I was sitting there on the honestly.
Was it like watching Chelsea? Was it?
It was.
Was it being back in Munich again?
It was a nail-biting penalty shootout. What happened? For £1 million. I mean, the prizes were for £1 million.
A penalty shootout for £1 million?
Basically, well, it wasn't.
It's basically like it's just like being Cristiano Ronaldo in a nothing cup tie in Saudi, isn't it?
No, when I say penalty shootout, what I mean is that it was a penalty shootout style. You know, in other words,
what did they have to do to win £1 million?
They had to answer a lot of questions over a period of weeks, but this was the denouement of the whole competition.
Wow. You watch a lot of trash telly, don't you?
Well, I do.
No, with respect to Mel and Sue.
No, I'm not a big fan in general, but this, I have to say, fair to them, this was a brilliant show.
They managed it well. They managed the tension.
They did. You know.
Good stuff. Okay, we had the World...
The listeners have seen it, they're going, yeah, he's right, it was very exciting.
We had the World Conquer Championships. There was a few shocks in the World Conquer Championships.
Yeah.
David Jakins, Hawksbee and Jakins, he's going to be doing a show with me.
Very much so, yeah.
He was the reigning champion. He was beaten. King Conquer, they had all that controversy last year. They suggested he had metal in his conkers. And apparently, Mark Pugac will tell us later on, because he competed, I believe he's Mark Pugac. They put you through a metal detector on the way in to make sure you haven't got metal in your conkers. I mean, that'd be a sad state of affairs, wouldn't it?
It's sad that they had to do it, but, that is
But King Conquer, the man himself, he was beaten by a woman dressed as a bee. So that's ignominy, isn't it?
It's a good nickname, though, isn't it? King Conquer.
King Conquer, yeah.
And Red Zone on the NFL, there were 5 very close games, 1-point games, 1-score games. And he went to, I've never seen him do this, quintuple box. That was it. I was done. Absolutely.
That really messes with your head, doesn't it?
I keep missing. You can't, but it's fantastic bit of television as well. So there you go.
Good stuff.
Football will be back next weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J if you want to get in touch this afternoon. What have we got here? I was working at Lord's Cricket Ground as a steward. Bruce Forsyth and his wife came through a side gate. Bruce Forsyth and his wife came. I've added that because I think I'm contractually obliged to. I am.
Yeah,
you get the idea. I assume I can come this way, said Bruce. I don't know if he spoke like that. I replied by that thinking, if you play your cards right. He replied, I do the joke, sunshine.
Yeah, you would do.
Oh, good old Bruce. Thank you, Steve, for that.
If somebody got out for 2 ducks, Bruce would be perfect to say nothing for a pair.
Yeah, not in this
game.
Not in this game.
Yeah.
Okay, daft things you said to famous people in light of somebody going up to Stan Smith and said, I understand your ashes are buried under centre court at Wimbledon. You've gone a bit early there. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J. We kick off chatting to Troy Deeney, who was, he had a chat with Javi Gracia, his old manager, who's back at Watford, interviewed him. Ollie Watkins out of the England squad, that whack on the knee after that miss.
Yeah, it was a shame, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I hope it's not too bad from a Villa point of view. What happens when you just go out and you're rubbish when you least expect it? And a bit of Adam Wharton after Steve Parish was on talkSPORT yesterday on the Sunday edition. Danny Kelly's going to join us. The Faroes, what an amazing story this is. They could qualify for the World Cup. There could be some real minnows in this World Cup. So we'll be chatting about that. We'll be in the England camp. We'll be chatting to Mark Pugac about how he got on at the World Conquers. Dean Saunders on Wales. Mark Wilson on Super League. And the England squad that was announced today for the Ashes that a couple of weeks' time at Wembley, the first test. So Mark joining us for a chat a little bit later on. We're here with our good friends, as always, at Tool Station. Next stop, Tool Station. Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on Talk Sport. Chris in Bristol says I was boarding a plane at Bristol Airport and Jason Manford was in front of me. Being a bit starstruck, I just said, "Oh, what country are you going to, Jason?" He pitifully put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Same one as you, I would imagine." Thank you, Chris. Embarrassing things you said to celebrities when you met them. Talksport.com. Text 81089, tweet TSH and J 03717 223344. Our own Troy Deeney, formerly of Watford, of course, met up with his old boss, Javi Gracia, who has gone back to Vicarage Road, and we can now see and hear the moment they were reunited at the club's training ground.
Hey! Oh, my captain! Number 9. Oh, Deeney. I'm number 9.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
What a
you look
nice
well.
surprise.
You okay?
Yeah, good.
Come on into my world now.
Oh,
this is my
now
world.
you're
This is your space, but my world.
Now you're a journalist?
No, just for you.
Oh, what a
You okay?
big surprise.
You look well.
Yeah.
You look very well.
You too.
That was amazing.
Oh, captain, my captain. Lovely, but nice
I
little...
think the way he greeted Troy, I think he still thinks he's in the squad.
Yeah, that's right. He's probably turned up. He's going to pick Troy to play up front of the weekend. Hello, Troy.
Hello, gents. How you doing?
Yeah.
You okay?
You did tell him you'd retired, didn't you?
I think the size of my belly suggested I'd retired, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose you have to, when you work, with respect, when you're working for the Potsos, you have to understand that you are just passing through. And you have to be fairly philosophical. He's been there before. He's worked with them before. I just, you know, look, I don't know. I wonder what sort of...
Well, he must have his eyes open. He must.
Yeah, I mean, he does. He goes in very much with his eyes open, yeah.
Yeah, he understands. Look, I think you can't go in any job thinking, right, I'm going to get sacked in a few weeks or months. He's going in there very optimistic, very happy to be there. And not many times you get a second bite at the same apple. He's going back there. Obviously, we were very successful. I think for my conversation with him was to try and manage expectations. We got to an FA Cup final in the Premier League. You know, this is a completely different squad, completely different time. You know, he just got to make them competitive in a tough championship as well. So I'm happy for him. Obviously, he went to Leeds. He had a tough time, but he's been out in Qatar. He's won. And he's just happy. And it's nice to be around people that are just happy. So I wish him all the best. And, you know, maybe for once, it might be the players have to step up. It's a really strange thing, isn't it?
And you normally get a job, you know, when you've got 5 or 6 points at this stage of the season. But look, they're solidly mid-table. They're on 12 points. It's not an absolute disaster he's walking into, is it?
No, and I think from what I can understand, the previous manager, I don't know him. I was in there a month ago, and I think a sign of a man is when they can come and say hello. He's the only person in that building that never said hello to me. You know, I went to Southampton last week, and Will Still and all his Adam Lallana, everyone come and said hello, greeted me, showed me around the place. But a place I was at for 13 years, the manager thought he didn't need to say hello, which was interesting to me. It showed, I think, kind of where he was at. And from what I understand and gather from being in there, he took on everybody and, you know, didn't want to make any friends. And I think Javi has got a nice place now with some real talented players and probably going to play the right players in their right system. And again, it's all going to be on, a bit like Ange Postecoglou, do you win? You can have all these great ideas. You've got to win games.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the owners like? I mean, you must know them quite well.
You know what? They're good. They're good people. Do they do things wrong? Absolutely. Do they, in my opinion, can they treat the players who were once there better? Absolutely. But they're businessmen. They don't look at Watford as the same way as fans who have lived there and breathed it for 30, 40 years. They look at the overhead costs and they're not in the Premier League. So they make decisions based on the numbers. And I think, can they do things better? Yes. But also, you've got to remember, when I was there in 2010, we had 3 sides to the stadium. Now they've got a full stadium, training grounds up to scratch. Really good the way that they treat everybody within there in terms of nutrition, gym, everything's all done. So for the negatives, you do have to say the positives have much more outweighed that.
And did they used to ask the senior pros their opinion before they used to hire and fire? I mean, did they ever sort of come to you and others and say, look, you know, or not? Did they just make these decisions themselves?
Contrary to many beliefs, I have about as much power as Watford as I do at talkSPORT.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You go. So I got told what to do, where to be, and how to do it, and that's very much the same as everywhere. I think people think that because you've been there for so long, they must, consult with you and make it happen. Unfortunately, that's not the way it is. We get told probably an hour before everybody else does. That's about it.
Now, take us inside the mind of a player. Last night we were saying everything was set up for Scotland. They were at home, destiny in their own hands. They had a good result last week. Everything was set up, ready to go. All the players were up for it. Hampden's up for it. And you go out there and you stink the place out. And you come in. You must come in at half-time, something as a player, and saying, what's happening here? How is this happening?
Yeah, I think so. I think also you can get too emotional. You can have this expectation and hype yourselves up that, we are going to win. Everything you just said there was perfect, isn't it? Hampden was expecting, the players were expecting. They've won the last couple. They're on a good roll. Now it's in our hands. We should beat this team. And for some reason, you just can't get up for it. It's already a foregone conclusion that you're going to win. Listen, they ended up winning and getting over the line, but it's a weird one because what's the expectation? And this is not a dig at the Scottish fans, but what is the expectation? Because fundamentally, they got the job done, didn't they? So they should be happy, but it doesn't feel that they are. It feels like they feel that they should be winning games with style, with quality, but winning by 3 and 4s. That's not the way to Scotland that I can ever remember in my lifetime. So, yeah, I just think it's a little bit harsh, and the players have got to get that winning feeling and just stay with it. That's 3 games they've won now, back to back. That's good.
You have to look for the positives, but Scotland fans are so conditioned to the fact that they'll go out and beat Brazil on Wednesday and lose to Krakatoa on Saturday, and that's what drives them mad. I think sometimes faced with a team that on paper are inferior to them, they find themselves 1-1. Effectively, it should have been if it wasn't for that.
So the 2 remaining games should suit them on that basis.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Danes. The last game that's going to be the game. It should be some night that again. As long as they've got to play the match, not the occasion. Troy, it fits into what you said because it could all come down to that, whether they qualify automatically or not.
Yeah, but also, lads, as well, that's a counter-attacking team. That's not a team that's meant to have the ball and dominate the ball. Like, again, not trying to upset Scottish fans, but they're not England. They don't have a midfield like England. They don't have pace and power in the wide areas like England. So what they do, they sit, they condense, and then they counter-attack. Yeah. So if you watch, every time they play against a team that does what they want to do to them, which is back off and say, go on then, break us down, they struggle because they don't have those players to get it done. So they got the job done. The other games will suit them, and it's just a case of just moving forward.
Steve Parish was on the station with Sean Custers and Henry Winter yesterday chatting about Adam Wharton. I mean, Andy and I were just chatting about him off air. He feels like a player you've got to have in the squad from an England point of view. He offers you something different from a lot of the players we have at the moment. Yet you kind of sense maybe he may not make the cut the way things are.
Yeah, I think that. I think he's a wonderful player and he's great for Palace, and he offers a lot. I'm not sold on him 100%, if I'm being totally honest. I think he's very good. I think he's very neat, very tidy. He absolutely should be in the England squad because I think that 6 area is an area that we struggle with. Minus Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson now has stepped up into that. But I think if I was Adam Wharton, I'd be saying Jordan Henderson had his time. I want my time. So we could be frustrated with that. But I see a lot of talk at the moment about going to Champions League places and wanting to play at a higher level. I haven't seen that consistently enough yet, both with fitness and staying fit and available. And then secondly, what's he going to cost roughly to go to these other teams? Probably 70, 80 million?
Yeah, I suppose Palace will be looking for top dollar, wouldn't they?
I'd say.
And he's English as well.
Yeah.
I'd say it's 60, 70, certainly, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, but I just don't know. What's the expectation for that? For 70, 80 million, I'd expect someone who's neat and tidy, but also that athleticism that breaks away from players. And he doesn't really have that. But he's a fantastic footballer, so I don't want to come across negatively at all. I just think, would he go in now at Man United, for example, and we go, that puts them in the Champions League places?
Would improve
I don't think
them.
so.
It would improve.
Well, it's not hard, is it? They could put us 3 in for that.
You do wonder if he was playing for a Manchester United, would he be more likely to play for England? Is it the fact that he's playing for Palace? Is that a problem?
100%. 100%. There was a stat, wasn't there, that it's the first time in about 30, 40 years that we haven't named someone that's played for Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So, again, you look at what Stevie G was talking, and people have been saying this for years, and everyone's been denying it, but now, like Steven Gerrard said it, apparently it's like, oh my God, there was clicks. Who knew that? Everyone knew. Yeah.
Thanks, Troy. We'll catch up with you soon.
Anytime, lad. See you soon.
All the
Bye-bye.
best. There's Troy Deeney there. I'm sure he'll be back on Friday with the gang. Friday's mid-morning show. Danny Kelly's going to join us for a chat. He gets together with us every Monday. We normally go game by game through the Premier League weekend. Clearly, that's not going to happen.
No.
So we're going to talk a bit of Ireland, both sides of the border, and the next talented Irish player heading for the Premier League. I think he's coming in January. Danny can tell us a little bit more about that. And the mighty Faroes. The World Cup dream is still alive for a real minnow. We'll be chatting about that and other minnows that could still feature in this next World Cup with the sweepers Paul Watson. That's all to come.
Jack Wilshere is the new Luton manager, his first senior role.
I think it's a great opportunity for Jack. And given the time that I spent with him, and I've spoken to him subsequent, I think he's focused on being successful as a manager for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I think he'll have all the disciplines and none of the big-time player stuff.
Well, Simon Jordan says there's a lot more to the thinker, Jack Wilshere, than meets the eye. Chris Powell will be his number 2. More on that one at talkSPORT.com. Jordan Pickford has agreed terms on a new long-term deal at Everton. We understand that will keep Pickford at the club till 2029. Ollie Watkins is out of England's World Cup qualifier in Latvia that's live on talkSPORT tomorrow. The striker hasn't recovered from a knock in the win over Wales. Now, Paul Gascoigne has told White and Jordan the happiest time of his career came at Rangers, but he struggles to look back at his best moments on the pitch.
I find it hard to watch football. Some of the clips when I think, God, I wish I had that back. I love that 90 minutes because that was my freedom.
And Andrew Flintoff has told talkSPORT he regrets taking the England captaincy in 2006, but felt he was expected to. Right now, Fred is 100% focused on coaching England's young Lions. They're also in Australia, of course, this winter. You can hear Flintoff's full interview on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
Yes, good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Annie Jacobs here on Talk Sport. Some of the daft things you said to famous people when you're out and about. You just can't. Stan Smith. Somebody came up to Stan Smith, the tennis legend, and said, I understand your ashes are buried under the centre court of Wimbledon.
Thing to say.
Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J 03717223344. Duncan in Leicester says, my mate bumped into Kasper Schmeichel in a restaurant in Leicester, went up to his table, said, hi Kasper, how's your dad? Bit of a weird one. And there was a corker. Yes, this comes from Andy in the Black Country. Went to Blackpool late 1990s. Melinda Messenger, a model TV presenter, was doing autographs on the pleasure beach. She offered to sign my shirt. I found myself saying, no thanks, it's Yves Saint Laurent, it cost me 50 quid and you're not that famous. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah. Andy, blimey.
Well, that's fair enough, really.
Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J 0371722.
She said, don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, there we are. We thought, well, Danny Kelly joins us every Monday, and we've got no Premier League games to go through, but we do have his beloved Republic of Ireland and indeed Northern Ireland in action, and a new superstar heading for the Premier League from League of Ireland. And so he joins us now. Good afternoon, Danny.
Good afternoon, chaps. All good, I hope?
Yes, very good. Not too bad, thank you. Our producer Sean was telling us there he was in an Irish pub watching the game the other night against Portugal. And then the gut-wrenching late winner, he said the place was, it was a sad place to be at that moment. Well, it was a bit of a gut punch, wasn't it?
It was, Paul, but football's a weird thing like that, isn't it? The longer you go into this game's 0-0, the more the hope rises that a very important draw could be got. But you have to be honest about it as well. This is how it was. The Republic of Ireland played really well defensively. Kevin Kelleher was great. They played 5-5-0 because most of the time Evan Ferguson was playing in midfield. But it was almost inevitable Portugal scored. They had 30 shots at goal in 90 minutes. And it seems to me almost impossible in the modern game to defend that deep for that long, not least because you'll get a daft penalty against you, exactly as they did. The ball hit an Irish chest, the penalty got given. Kevin Kelleher saved Cristiano Ronaldo's penalty. So although the timing of the goal was cruel, I'm not open to complaining about the result because Portugal were, as you'd expect, yards better than Ireland.
Yeah.
Cristiano does miss quite a lot of penalties, and somebody made the point that he's great from a free kick from like 30 yards with a wall in front of him, but with nothing there, he seems to.
So when you've got Bruno Fernandes in the team, and there are alternatives,
he also misses a few.
Yeah,
but to be fair, Paul, Bruno Fernandes probably by the sort of that late in the game when he's playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, he's not fit to take a penalty because they don't press. I'm serious. They don't press because Cristiano can't. So they do the old shuttle shuttle run between the ball holders. He stands there and watches Bruno Fernandes. I was watching it. It was extraordinary to watch. He was running between the centre halves. He's 31 years of age himself. By the end of it, he must have felt 50. He'd run 15 kilometres just between the two Irish centre halves.
We're going to see the Saipan film soon, and we're going to we'll see the quality of that Ireland team at that time. And with respect, I look down the current roster, and the depth of quality just isn't there, Danny, is it?
Well, Paul, something has changed culturally, and that's fine too. People should play for the country they feel like playing for. That team that you're talking about in Saipan, as well as the Roy Keanes of this world, of course, was loaded with people of my generation and a bit younger who were born in England and in some cases Scotland, but decided to play for the Republic of Ireland. That no longer happens. Boys who are qualified to play for the Republic but are English born tend to want to play for England.
Sure.
England's team is full of Republic of Ireland qualified players. Yeah. McGrealish, Kane, Maguire, both the Bellinghams. You can go on and on and on. They've all entitled to, and in case of the Bellinghams, actually hold Irish passports. So that's the cultural change that's happened, and Ireland has to deal with it. It has to start to try and bring through its own youth players.
Big night for Northern Ireland, entertaining Germany this evening, and a big night for Michael O'Neill. It's a 100th game in 2 spells.
I mean, look, let's first of all, this game would be meaningless if they hadn't beaten Slovakia at the weekend, but they did, and that was a tremendous performance. I'm going to pick out 2 individuals here, but it's almost anathema to do it because what Northern Ireland have, particularly at home, is a tremendous team. They really put in a shift, and against a team that equal them on points. This game was so critical because in these 4-team groups, every defeat is absolutely damaging. If Northern Ireland had lost on the night, they would now be 6 points behind Slovakia. As it is, they're level with Slovakia and Germany. Tremendous team performance. They had the minority of the possession, but they were the better team throughout. They were on the front foot from minute 1. 2 names to mention here. Connor Bradley. It's almost like subconsciously Liverpool might not have been too upset to let Trent Alexander-Arnold go because Bradley is just developing in leaps and bounds. He's captaining the team in his early 20s. He was brilliant in attack for Northern Ireland the other night. And, of course, unfortunately got booked, so he's going to miss tonight. Yeah. I'd also want to mention the other fullback as well, Sunderland's Trey Hume, who has gone under the radar as an ever-improving player over the last few years. He got the second goal, which calmed the nerves of the crowd and the team somewhat. I don't know if you've seen it. Dubravka punches the ball out and it arrives at Trey Hume about 22 or 5 yards outside the penalty area. He's a right-footed fullback. The left foot inside of the foot lob back over the whole teams and the goalkeeper. If it had been, you mentioned him, Jack Grealish, we'd be purring. We'd be going mad. It was a brilliant finish. And Germany, of course, should win this game tonight. I'll be watching them with tremendous interest. But they've got their own problems. As they're improving at the front, and the development of Nick Woltemade means they've stopped messing around with Füllkrug and Kai Havertz as a centre forward for international football. They've relaxed, but they are still not what they want to be at the back. And, you two are connoisseurs of this kind of irony. The problem they've got is that Joshua Kimmich is only one man. And they need to clone him because they want to play him at right back and they want to play him as the pivot in midfield. And now they bounce him between one position and another, weakening the team wherever they go. Nagelsmann, I can see he can't hide his feelings ever, can he, Julian Nagelsmann? He's frustrated as hell that he can't have 2 Kimmichs on the pitch. But I'll tell you what, if Germany defend as laxly as they have been doing, and the crowd are in the game the way they have been doing in Windsor Park, I can see something strange happening here. Although, every bone in your body tells you Germany should win the match.
Yeah, Nagelsmann defending Wirtz and saying he's going to come good. So I expect.
Well, and so was Jurgen Klopp, wasn't he? He said he's a once in a century player. I mean, wow.
And Kevin, Kevin Hatchard, who, very familiar to talkSPORT listeners, was calling him the best player in the world a year ago.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Kevin's not always right. Let's be honest.
No, but look, it's quite incredible, isn't it, that people are just how Florian Wirtz, they've wasted their money.
Yeah,
are they mad?
The bloke's been here he's been here for 10 minutes.
He's going to come right.
Give the bloke a chance.
But that's just the way that the football goes now. I nearly said modern football, like an old man shouting at clouds.
Yeah.
But that look, you could say the same thing about Postecoglou at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
There are seasoned journalists of our acquaintance in very established newspapers, genuinely working out who the next manager of Nottingham Forest is going to be in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah. Now, it may be that Marinakis is mad enough to do that. Yeah. Bless him. But we live in a world now where nothing's allowed to settle, not even for 5 seconds. And Florian Wirtz, in Germany, wait till the World Cup when they've got Voltemade up front, Wirtz behind him, Musiala fit again, and Serge Gnabry up front. You won't want to be playing Germany in the latter stages of that tournament, I promise you.
Never write off the Germans. So finally, I read an interesting piece in the Athletic today by Conor O'Neill about Mason Melia. We've talked about him when we were doing League of Ireland stuff over the summer, Danny.
Yes.
He's at St Patrick's Athletic. Mm-hmm. He's able to come to Spurs in January. They signed him about 18 months ago, but because of the new EU rules, he wasn't able to come. The flip side of that, of course, Dan, and you would have seen him in action, is that he's been playing against men. He has been a boy against men. And often guys turn up at sort of 18 and they've gone through the academy and they've not gone through that process. They maybe need a loan, but it seems that Mason Melia probably won't. I mean, how good is he? What have you made of him? What are Tottenham getting?
Well, first and foremost, he's not had a brilliant weekend. It was fantastic that he was picked for the Irish under-21s at 18 years of age, just turned 18. That shows he's got talent. He opened the scoring after 3 minutes, but for the opposition. He scored an own goal.
Spursy.
So there's a bit of that. Look, Paul, you're exactly right. What's happened since he signed for Spurs is that the professional gentlemen of the Irish League of Ireland have taken it upon themselves to test his mettle. Shall we say it no more strongly than that? And he stood up to it terrifically well. He is a strong, wiry centre forward. And one or two times, he's not playing against Mickey van der Ven or anyone here, where he turns the centre back, 40 yards from goal. And a bit like when Kane gets going, you don't think he's going at any great speed, but no one seems to catch him before he gets the shot away. And that's his other talent. He gets the shot away early. And we know that goalkeepers, that's the thing they hate more than anything else. They want to get set, and he doesn't allow them to get set. Whether he's going to make it, in English football is anyone's guess. But he has the talent. Well, look, Evan Ferguson was going to be the next big thing. I mean, he's having to rebuild his career in Italy now, admittedly sometimes through injury. But the boys staying on, because there's another lad who's just signed for Arsenal for a load of money as well. The boys staying on has, I think, helped their development rather than playing against, as you say, 17-year-olds in England. But also, it's helped the League of Ireland because these kids are stars who are helping to attract bigger and bigger crowds.
Brilliant. Back to the bread and butter of the Premier League next week, Danny. Thanks very much.
No problem at all. See you next week.
Before joining us on the Monday, you can listen to Danny on Trans-Europe Express with Andy Brassel and the gang on Sunday night. The latest episode, in case you missed it, is available now. And they were talking about Serie A, La Liga being granted approval to have their league games played abroad, much to UEFA's reluctance. So, Trans-Europe Express for a much deeper dive into the world of European football. Listen on the talkSPORT app or via your favourite podcast platform. And Andy Brassel will be hoovering up some of the big stories around Europe we're not covering, one of which is coming up next. It's the Faroe Islands. Andy once made dinner for their legendary goalkeeper, the man in the bobble hat.
Jens Martin Knudsen.
He'll tell us in what circumstances, and we'll tell you why we're discussing the Faroes today with the sweepers Paul Watson in a few moments' time. Yes, we're here with Tool Station. Stay one step ahead, whatever the job. Next stop, Tool Station. Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Later on, we're going to be talking a bit of Super League, reflecting on the grand final at the weekend, and the Ashes gets underway in a couple of weeks' time at Wembley. And Sean Wayne, the coach, has announced his squad, and we'll be chatting to our commentator at the weekend, Mark Wilson, about that and other matters besides. But first, the Faroe Islands, Andy, quite the story. They are still in the mix for World Cup qualification. They're not alone amongst minnows. Maybe the new format will allow some teams like
12 points, haven't they? It's incredible, really. I mean, they were always the whipping boys of any group. And I think their most famous match in history was that draw they got with Austria.
Well, they beat Austria 1-0.
Was it 1-0? I thought it was a draw.
No, they beat. I mean, it was 1990s. How long ago?
Yeah, a long time ago.
And
I should know that.
The breakout star from that was a goalkeeper, the Faroe Islands goalkeeper, who wore a bobble hat for the entire match, and then did a Phoenix from the Flames with you and Skinner and Badil.
Very funny, actually.
Were you in that sketch?
No, I'm not in it.
You didn't have
it. I was standing behind the camera.
But you did make him dinner, didn't you?
Yeah, and played football with him as well with the kids.
Did he go in goal or go outfield?
Outfield.
Oh, okay. What was he like as an outfield?
I was in goal, but I didn't wear a hat.
Yeah, okay. Great story. Anyway, Cape Verde could also qualify. That's right, Cape Verde, where you've gone on holiday.
Yeah.
They could qualify.
Not Kate Verde.
No, not Kate Verde.
She's a lovely girl.
Kate Verde will be at the World Cup. Kate loves a World Cup. Kate Green, she's known round my way. She's trying to make herself sound a bit more exotic. Paul Watson from The Sweeper joins us now. Hello, Paul.
Hi. I don't know how to follow this. Making a meal for Jens Martin Knudsen is that's an impressive claim.
Thank you very much.
Did he still have the bobble hat, Andy? Did he?
He brought it with him, yeah.
Right, okay. I mean,
the whole
that should be in the Faroes.
It's on YouTube. It's very funny. I watched it this morning. The whole thing is predicated on the fact that he was wearing this hat.
Yeah,
you didn't want to
go back and watch it. It is a great story, isn't it? Really, considering the amount of. Did I see Daniel Story, the journalist, saying earlier on? There's only 15,000 men under 40 in the whole of the Faroes, so it doesn't give them a lot to choose from, does it? Really?
Yeah. So the total population 55,000. The total population of sheep is 70,000. So if they can harness that, they can be in business. But no, it's an amazing rise they've had. As you say, they were a byword for no hopers for so many years, but they've invested heavily in youth systems. It's very, very easy for kids to play in the Faroe Islands. So, for example, during games, like at half time, after games, before games, you'll just see kids flock the pitch, kicking the ball around to the extent where even if you go to a pitch out of hours, they will just leave footballs there for kids to kick around. And it seems like that whole ethos of like anyone can play anytime has massively paid off with this new generation.
It would be a great story, wouldn't it, if they could make it through? As is Cape Verde. I see that game's tonight. You can watch it on FIFA TV. I saw you tweeting, Paul. So I mean, that's some story. Where's that come from? Where has their sort of rising quality come from?
Well, we're in two quite different positions here in that so the Faroe Islands is amazing, beating Czech Republic, beating Montenegro, it's amazing. For them to qualify, they will still need an upset, the likes of which football has never really seen. Like they need to beat the Czech Republic's result against Gibraltar with their game against Croatia. So basically they need to beat Croatia away and they need the Czech Republic to lose because of the goal difference. They need the Czech Republic to lose to Gibraltar. So it's very unlikely. Whereas Cape Verde, as you say, are very much on the brink of qualification. That'll be obviously their first time. They'd be the second smallest nation by population to ever qualify for a World Cup. They just need to beat Eswatini, formerly Swaziland, and they themselves, Eswatini, are on a pretty bad losing run. They're one of the most winless teams in international football. So Cape Verde are absolutely on the brink of qualification. They thought they'd done it. They had to beat Libya. If they'd beaten Libya in their last game, they would have done it. They were 3-1 down, came back to 3-3, and had a goal disallowed that would have won it. That was a disallowed for offside that was miles onside. So they've done the job once. They've just got to finish it off tonight.
They'll be all right eventually by the time Infantino's got a 200-team World Cup.
We're playing for 6 months. So on that, Cape Verde, there's bound to be a couple of EFL players. Is there a couple of League One or League Two players in the mix? Do we know?
It's a very European-based squad. So Cape Verde squad is, I think, entirely, in fact, based in European leagues. I think I'm right in saying so.
There's a big Portuguese influence, isn't there, on the island? So I take it there's some Portuguese players, is there? Or
yeah, so Portugal's probably like the biggest place that their players come from. There's a real mix. There's players in Turkey, there's players in Russia. They're from absolutely all over. So you know what they've done is they've used this huge community they've got dotted around the world, and they've sort of really cleverly recruited players with heritage. That can go wrong, as we've seen. That can go really badly wrong, but in their occasion, it's actually gone really, really well. So yeah, they are right on the brink now, and can only really hope that they make it, because it would be fantastic for the tournament. There is obviously a negative side to having so many teams in the tournament. I think as a spectacle, it does lose something, but yeah, it's something fantastic. And one of the best stories I've got is Roberto Lopez, who's known as Pico. He's playing at centre back. He plays for Shamrock Rovers in Ireland. He, I believe, realised he could be part of this squad because of his heritage. He's actually born in Ireland, but he has Cape Verde heritage. I think he responded to an appeal on LinkedIn. Someone messaged him on LinkedIn and said, "Do you want to play for Cape Verde?" And he went, "Wow. Yeah, all right." And now he's on the very brink. His drama is his wife is on the edge of going into labour. Like she's due.
Wow.
Like she's due now. So he has been, I think, still in this situation where at any moment he might actually get called away from the biggest game of his life.
Wow. Well, we wish him and Cape Verde well. And I take it you'll be hoovering all this up in the next Sweeper podcast, Paul. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing a special pod this week on Cape Verde and other sort of exciting World Cup qualification stories. That's coming out alongside another pod that we do, our standard pods. That's the Sweeper at Sweeper Pod. And yeah, we'll be following the game on FIFA Plus. You can watch it for free at, I think it's 5 p.m. UK kickoff.
Excellent. Good to talk to you. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Paul Watson there, and Sweeper Podcast does hoover up all these weird and wonderful tales from around the world of football. Go and check it out.
You mentioned Mark there, and there's a great...
That's his brother, of course.
Yeah, his brother, the comedian. And
the Bristol City connection.
It is. There was this footage of him outside a comedy club or a gig.
Yeah.
He couldn't get in, and he was standing outside with the audience. I don't know whether, eventually, I presume he did get in.
So he was on the bill, was he? They wouldn't let him in.
He said, "I think we're going to have to do the gig out here."
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice one. This Friday, Kieran Conway puts his British and Commonwealth middleweight titles on the line against undefeated George Lillard at the legendary York Hall in Bethnal Green in London. Watch this on Friday, only on DAZN.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
so European. Robert Lewandowski, a new contract at 37. Would you have him at your place? We'll ask Andy Brassel in the next hour. Plus, Faye Carruthers joins us to talk England, air to Latvia tomorrow, live on talkSPORT, and indeed her beloved Luton have a new manager in Jack Wilshere. That's all to come. But first, Matt Hutchinson has the sports headlines.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon. Jack Wilshere says Luton's values of belief, unity and hard work inspire him after being appointed as their new manager. It's his first senior role.
I think it's a great opportunity for Jack, and given the time that I spent with him, and I've spoken to him subsequent, I think he's focused on being successful as a manager for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I think he'll have all the disciplines and none of the big-time player stuff.
Well, Simon Jordan says there's a lot more to Wilshere than meets the eye, calling him a thinker of the game. Chris Powell will be Wilshere's assistant. Plenty more on that one at talksport.com. Ollie Watkins is out of England's World Cup qualifier in Latvia, which is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. The striker picked up a knock when he crashed into a post against Wales last week. Now, Paul Gascoigne has told talkSPORT the happiest days of his career came at Rangers, but he struggles to look back at his best performances.
I find it hard to watch football. Some of the clips when I think, God, I wish I had that back. I love that 90 minutes because that was my freedom.
Gazza also says he's enjoying life down on the south coast despite struggling with his demons. On to cricket now, and Pat Cummins says his back problem is likely to keep him out of the first Ashes test in Perth. Meanwhile, Andrew Flintoff has told talkSPORT he never wanted the England captaincy down under in 2006, but felt he was expected to take it. You can watch our full interview with Fred over on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. And Joe Burgess has been included in England's Rugby League Ashes squad. Head coach Sean Wayne has picked 5 treble-winning Hull KR players in his 24-man group.
Weather with QuickFit, where we've got more premium tyres than the number of times you'll hear, "Ooh, it's a bit nippy this winter." Book today at quickfit.com.
On to your news now, and Donald Trump has told the Israeli parliament the long and painful nightmare is finally over in Gaza, and 2 prisoners have appeared in court charged with murdering paedophile singer Ian Watkins. More from the news team at past.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Coming up, Andy Brassel, European football expert, joins us, hoovering up some of the big stories. We'll talk about Lewandowski, whether at 37 he has anything left in the tank. He'd want massive wages, of course. But anyway, Andy will tell us more. And it looks like Marcus Rashford is going to be staying at Barcelona. They seem keen to keep him there. So
he's doing well.
Yeah. He's in planning news today. Did you see that, Andy?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Marcus, it was on the planning news was on the front page of the Sun. Rashford wanted to make news. Oh, blimey, there it is. that's thank you, Becky. Frightened the life out of me. Rashford wanted to make his forever home at the clubhouse in the Cheshire countryside. Plans were drawn up for the clubhouse to be demolished and replaced with a stunning 5-bedroom mansion, complete with indoor swimming pool, gym, games room, and chill-out area. There will be a separate apartment in the grounds. It's all sounding lovely. Yeah. With landscape gardens and welfare plans for bats, birds, hedgehogs and newts. However, the project has been hit by floods along with rising costs. It's a bit like Kevin McLeod job, isn't it?
Yeah.
The slow progress has also sparked concern among Rashford's neighbours, who said weeds growing on the site are dangerous. What are they, triffids?
Marcus had taken on too much.
Yeah. They're not triffids, are they? What damage can weeds do? Let's be honest. 03717. Oh, you'll be surprised, say all the gardens.
Oh, yeah, your roots.
Oh, yeah, they could get in there, yeah. Anything else, Andy, you want to talk shop?
Oh, yes.
Oh, have you got some bits? But this is your window to shine.
Realise.
Your chance to shine.
Well, that's good news, isn't it?
Okay.
It was interesting to hear Adrian Charles reminiscing about walking to the Den with Albion fans and saying how hairy it was.
Yeah.
I remember doing the same walk with Frank. We went to see West Brom against, might have even been the old Den.
Okay.
It was intimidating.
Could have been. That would have been sort of early-ish 90s.
Yeah, it was
93,
about right,
94 they moved.
Yeah.
They said, so they call it the New Den. They've been there for 30-odd years.
It's true, yeah.
Haven't they?
And I had to salute indoor rowing champion Dave Holby.
Yeah, I saw this. I didn't quite understand it.
He basically ran 13 miles with a 4-stone rowing machine on his shoulders in Basingstoke.
So he's a rower, but he ran with a rowing machine on his back.
No, it doesn't make a lot.
Who came up with that idea?
Well, presumably Dave.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I don't know how relevant this is or not, but I'll tell you it's probably a bit more relevant than you initially thought.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham, we were told yesterday, is not on the 2026 calendar, Real Madrid calendar.
Oh, why's that?
Don't know. He was on the last one, nor is Trent. He's not on it. I mean, obviously, they've got a lot of star players and a lot of players that you would love to see. And so you only need, obviously need 12 players for the calendar. But he was, I don't know if he's in it. I don't know if he's on the cover or he's not actually in it at all. But one of the little sidebar jobs I had when I was at Chelsea was to have a chat with one of the management team about the calendar and who should be in it.
Yeah.
So I had to sit down with one of the coaches and he said, who have you got in sort of September? And I told him, he said, no, you're best moving back to April. Sure enough, in the summer, the bloke had gone.
Oh, yeah, good, brilliant.
So there is a relevance to where and if you appear in the calendar or not. So make of that what you will.
There's a very strange headline in the Sun today. Goal machine. Erling is a robot, says Pow AI. But it's not. It's Alexander Sword.
Yeah, I did see.
I thought, is he friendly with AI?
He's very friendly with AI.
Yeah, very much so,
Yeah.
But never mind. You can have a number from 1 to 133.
Okay, then Andy's he's got so many of these stupid bits and pieces that he has to number them, and it's a bit like an FA Cup draw. 92.
92.
Is 92 gone, Andy?
I don't think so.
Let's see what it is.
121.
There we go. That's not what I asked
92.
for.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's Colin Fodder, our old friend.
Yeah.
Here she is.
Well, it sounds like it could be an Irish bloke called Colin Fodder. This is somebody who writes a column in a national newspaper and Andy thinks it's money for jam. What's she written this week, Andy?
A house full of clutter. What's not to love?
Oh, yeah.
What cheering news that the young are apparently turning to analogue entertainment, buying DVDs and even searching out vintage Walkman players to listen to cassettes. They'll discover it's much more satisfying than streaming.
Yeah.
We still have shelves of old record albums and CDs in our house, which I've been unable to throw out, even though I rarely play them. They're like the clothes you keep in your wardrobe, which are unlikely to ever fit you again. You feel content in their company. They are faithful old friends reminding you of times past. No, they're not. Stupid.
We've asked you, Andy was telling us that Stan Smith, the legendary tennis player and shoe magnate, although we still haven't worked out how much he gets per pair that's sold. Hopefully Stan was not on a buyout, we said earlier on, and Stan gets, I don't know, quid every time they sell it.
It's a trendy shoe.
It seems to have...
It's a classic, really.
Strode the eras, doesn't it, really? It's never really gone out of fashion, the Stan Smith. So, anyway... Somebody said, I'm told your ashes are buried under the centre court, Wimbledon. He said, well, I think you've gone a bit early there. I was involved in a Q&A with Sir Geoffrey Boycott. And put your name on this one. And I put my hand up to ask a question. And my question was, does your box hurt when you wear it? Because we use plastic ones at my school and they really dig in. You know what Geoffrey would have said to that? Maybe it had a fur-lined box. I've got no idea. We know Frank. He wouldn't have worn it. Fred wouldn't have worn a box, would he? Fred,
no, or Brian Close.
Solly myself. Yeah, he wouldn't. Brian wouldn't wear a box.
He didn't even wear trousers.
No. He'd just go out with nothing on below the waist. He was that hard. Well, this is a corker. This is very embarrassing. My friend, who was a very good rugby player and a very fit man, found himself in a lift with Sir Steve Redgrave. When he saw him, he said, "Oh, hi. I can do 20 push-ups, no problem." And then proceeded to get down and prove it. To which Steve sort of looked at him and said, "Oh, that's very impressive," and then rushed out of the lift. Yeah. What a strange thing to do.
I met somebody last week who was a rower, and I was telling him the anecdote of the time we did that competition. We
did an indoor rowing event for charity with Sir Steve.
He was part of our team.
We were in the relay, and we were up against Matt Pinson and two fitter blokes than us, I'd say. And we were, poor old Steve drew the short straw. We were in his team.
Yeah.
So he went off last. And we maintain he put as much into that as he did all of his gold medal.
Honestly, by the end, he was flogged.
I said, "Why did you put?" He said, "I've got no other weight. That's the only. I go up to 11 all the time." And he was absolutely. He couldn't speak. He can't speak. It was just. It was. It was a real lesson. A lesson, I think, in people being elite at their sport. Yeah. Good. Talksport.com. Then embarrassing things you said to people when you met them, famous people. I saw Kieran Trippier at Elstree Recycling Centre back when he was at Spurs. I said to him, "You're the best left back in the world." And just before he drove off, he went, "Right back." Thank you, Benjamin, for that. So let us know your stories this afternoon. And so still to come. Andy Brassel, European football expert, joining us for a bit of a chat, hoovering up some of the stories we're yet to get round to from the World Cup qualification and the friendlies. Later on, we will be joined by Dean Saunders because Wales take on Belgium tonight, and we'll be right across that, of course, during kick-off for you, keeping you in touch. And we're going to be in the England camp with Faye Carruthers later on, and that's a bit of a double-header because Faye's a big Luton fan, and they have brought in Jack Wilshere today, which is good news for them, I think, with Chris Powell alongside him. So, solid management team. We'll see what Faye makes of that. Before that, though, we spoke to Steve Harmison last week, and he gave us a little extract from a conversation he's had with his old friend and captain, Andrew Flintoff. It's a special interview. It's going to be on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel, and Freddie's talking about his new book, Coming Home, which is out now. Let's play you another clip now. He's reflecting on Harmy's debut, and Freddie recalls a funny moment when he stitched up fellow debutant, now head of selectors, and managing director, Rob Key.
NASA, we needed a slip fielder.
Yeah, Trez was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Keys is in. And Keys is a great slip fielder, just based on the fact I just want to stand next to him all day. You know what I mean? We can stand next to each other, we can have a chat in the slips. In them days, not many came to the slips. So I just wanted to stand next to him. So he's like, he calls me Trevor, doesn't he? He calls me Trev. He says, "What have you done, Trev? I'm not a slipper." I said, "You are today, son." So he came into the slips and he was so nervous. It's his debut, he's in a fielding position he shouldn't be in. But then we just start chatting and messing about. I think I dropped one early on because I was talking to him and he stood next to me, Keysy. He's going, "All right, Trev, what's your favourite film?" "Drop Zone." Like, "All right. What's your favourite TV show?" "Drop the Dead Donkey." And he was just going, drop. He dropped 2 or 3. And then the first one I was laughing. And then the second one I felt bad, and by the third one I felt awful. But NASA could see what was going on. And then I think after he dropped the first or the second one, he just shouted from mid-off, "Oi, Keysy, I've not put you in there to chat next to your fat mate Fred." It's like he was seething.
I'm sure that wouldn't have made him feel any better.
No.
And why Trev?
Yeah.
Why does Rob call him Trev?
I can't work that out. What could
maybe Army's listening. Maybe Keysy's listening. We'll find out. Maybe he can let us know. To watch the full interview, make sure you head over to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and subscribe, or you can listen to it via the Following On podcast feed. Sounds really good. Faye Carruthers joining us a bit later on, but Andy Brassel with us next. We're here with Tool Station, ready to help at over 580 stations nationwide. Next up, Tool Station. Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Later on, Mark Pugac, ITV frontman for their football coverage, tells us how he got on when he competed at the World Conquer Championships this weekend, the much publicised. But before that, some of the World Cup stories, qualifying and friendlies and everything that's going on around Europe with Andy Brassel. Hi, Andy.
Hello, how are you both?
Not too bad, thanks. Let's start with that story I was reading earlier on there. A few Spanish papers reporting, those close to Barcelona, that Robert Lewandowski won't get a new contract at the end of this season. Maybe not altogether, unsurprisingly, at 37.
Not at all.
Does he have anything left, Andy? Could you see him popping up in the Premier League for a last hurrah, or is he gone?
A Premier League club should sign him for a year, at least. He's got loads left in the tank. He was fantastic last season, the best he's been in several seasons. Of course, we all know that his wife is a dietitian and keeps him on quite a short leash, which makes a difference as well. But his fitness has generally been excellent. He's still one of the most dangerous number 9s in world football. There are one reason that Barcelona are getting rid of him, and that's money. They're still on the hook for an absolutely massive contract for someone who's 37. That's something that they can't do. Quite how they can replace him with someone of that sort of quality, I find hard to imagine. I tend to think that he's not completely gone yet. I wonder if they kick the can down the road and just give him another year. And that would probably be the most sensible thing from their perspective, because they can't go out and they can't afford to go out and buy someone of Lewandowski's standard. Now, it was widely reported last week that Barcelona, and we know that clubs don't pay for players up front anymore, generally speaking, certainly at the top level, elite level of European football. But the Barcelona owe well over 160 million in terms of players they've bought already, and players going back a few years. So they still owe 24.5 million euros on Jules Koundé. They still owe money to Bayern on Lewandowski from when they bought him. They still owe in excess of 40 million euros to Leeds for Rafinha. And these are not new signings. So all of Barcelona's financial projections, much like every other football club, but more so, are based on, the best case scenario. So the opposite of the way that most of us budget when we're, planning our daily lives. Of course, so much of it is budgeted on the new Camp Nou, and especially selling the hospitality facilities there. And they've banked some of the money from that for the years to come already, and put that in current accounts. And it's one of the reasons they're desperate to get back to Camp Nou as soon as possible.
Yeah, TV rights for 21.56 were still available.
Yeah, I just hope. I mean, if you've bought one of those boxes at the new ground, you'd be slightly worried that 6 more groups of people aren't going to turn up because they've sold them 6 times over.
No.
You'll be sitting on someone's knee.
Yeah, it does feel a bit. I'm sure that's not the case. Anyway, let's look at some of the stories. Mbappe in good nick at the moment, Andy.
Unbelievable, Nick. And he broke one of his own records. I know we're forever struggling to define the best players, so we're making up new records for them. But Kylian Mbappe, it's the first time in his career that he's scored in 10 successive games after he scored in the game against Azerbaijan at the weekend, in which they played quite poorly in the first half. Of course, they're away in Iceland tonight. He won't be there because he got banged on the same ankle that he got banged on in the last Real Madrid game against Villarreal. But I thought his goal was really interesting, because you think of Mbappe and you think he's someone who works really well against high lines traditionally because he's quick. But actually, Azerbaijan play a packed defence. He's got a load of players in front of him. He dribbles round 3 and smashes it in from the edge of the box. So it's really interesting how he's in such great form at the moment. Also, how he's becoming more of a, I guess, accepted captain of France. He always seemed like a bit of a weird choice. He was just chosen because he was the best player, basically. But the way he's developed his captaincy, sort of captaining by committee, leaning on the experienced players and the senior players and the players with really strong personalities in the dressing room, like Rabiot, like Mike Maignan, the goalkeeper, who's going to step in for him in Iceland this evening, like Ibrahima Konate to a certain extent as well, who's one of the others considered for captaincy when it was put up. Things have really changed. But of course, with him not there tonight, that probably means that Jean-Philippe Mateta, who late bloomer and then some, made his international debut coming on against Azerbaijan, will probably lead the line in this game tonight. Probably Florian Thauvin will start as well. He hadn't played for France for 6 years. He was involved in the World Cup squad, which everyone forgets. He's actually a World Cup winner. And he hadn't played for 6 years and scored within a minute of coming on as sub against Azerbaijan. But Mateta's a really interesting one because obviously he's flourished with, I think what you can say is a less fashionable club, a below elite club, even if Palace have done brilliantly, and he's been a huge part of that, of course. All the chat in France has been, since he's got picked, well, at the moment, he's getting picked because there's no Doué, there's no Dembélé, there's no Marcus Thuram, of course, there's no Mbappe. The front part of the team is totally decimated. And people have been asking, well, yeah, but he's not going to get in the World Cup squad, is he? Well, firstly, enjoy the cap while it's here. And secondly, the whole thing that Mateta has done, no one's believed in him all of the way. He's believed in himself. He said the other week, didn't he? He said, well last week actually, in the build-up to the Azerbaijan game, Wilfried Zaha laughed at him in the dressing room when he said, I'm going to play for France. And the fact is, especially with how much football's played nowadays, I think wait for them to drop. You've no idea who's going to be available this time next year. It's all very well saying whoever's back. How do we know who's going to be back? How do we know who's going to be injured?
Yeah.
If you're Mateta, you keep doing what you're doing. Who cares if anyone rates you or not? As long as Deschamps picks you, and Deschamps really rates people like Mateta and like Thauvin, players who don't necessarily have massive egos, and players who are happy to go to a World Cup thinking they're, man 24 or 26, and, are happy not playing that much. And when they get their go, they'll give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. Spain, I think 100% record at the moment. They're absolutely flying through the group.
They've got to be one of the favourites.
They got Bulgaria, who are not a great side. So you'd expect them to chalk another win. But
any teams that keep the ball are going to be good in America because it's going to be so hot.
Yeah, that is very true. So they are looking good. We were talking earlier on to Danny Kelly about Germany and their strength in depth, and that's true of Spain as well, isn't it? Because they're winning these games without some big hitters, including Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, and I think if you look at Spain, it's harder and harder to find a reason not to rate them as favourites for this World Cup. Obviously, Brazil had a great result in South Korea, but they're still very much a work in progress under Carlo Ancelotti. Argentina are morphing to this post-Leo Messi model, and we'll see how that works out. They're trying out a few different incarnations of that at the moment. But with Spain, they can change a few players and they're still really fluent. Now, I guess going back to your point, Andy, in terms of possession is important in the States, particularly because in the States and Mexico, it's going to be super hot. But I guess the thing is, you look back to Spain as previous incarnation of Spain, don't you? The 2010 World Cup, where they played quite a sort of slow defensive first style, using possession as defence, really. The other team can't score if they can't get the ball off you, basically. So whether this set of players can play like that, I suppose, is the question, because at the moment, Spain are possession heavy, but they're just brilliant to watch. So whether they can change and become more like that 2010 side could be the thing that could make them favourites. But yeah, certainly without Lamine Yamal, it's completely different. We've seen that for Barcelona as well. But that they can be so dominant, so impressive. And by the way, they beat Georgia 2-0. They absolutely marmalised them. They were so good. Mamardashvili was really good in goal. He saved a pen as well from Ferran Torres. It was a good performance from him too.
We're out of time, Andy, but thank you. We'll catch up with you soon.
Pleasure. Look forward to it.
For a deeper dive into all the stories from world and European football, Trans-Europe Express with Danny Kelly and Andy Brassel, and that is available as a podcast wherever you get your podcast and on the talkSPORT app. And in fact, Andy features on the next talkSPORT Daily podcast, which is available now. He joined Adrian Durham. They count down to the top 5 most hostile stadiums they've visited across Europe. One if London Road made it. Ahead of England's trip to Latvia tomorrow. If you want to find out what made their list, then the talkSPORT Daily is available on all podcast platforms now. We're going to chat to Faye Crothers next. Bit of England, obviously, because she's our England correspondent. Ahead of Latvia live on talkSPORT tomorrow. And her beloved Luton Town, who have a new manager and assistant manager, and we'll get her take on that as well. That's all to come.
manager for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I think he'll have all the disciplines and none of the big-time player stuff.
Well, Simon Jordan says there's a lot more to the thinker, Jack Wilshere, than meets the eye. Chris Powell will be his number 2. More on that one at talkSPORT.com. Jordan Pickford has agreed terms on a new long-term deal at Everton. We understand that will keep Pickford at the club till 2029. Ollie Watkins is out of England's World Cup qualifier in Latvia that's live on talkSPORT tomorrow. The striker hasn't recovered from a knock in the win over Wales. Now, Paul Gascoigne has told White and Jordan the happiest time of his career came at Rangers, but he struggles to look back at his best moments on the pitch.
I find it hard to watch football. Some of the clips when I think, God, I wish I had that back. I love that 90 minutes because that was my freedom.
And Andrew Flintoff has told talkSPORT he regrets taking the England captaincy in 2006, but felt he was expected to. Right now, Fred is 100% focused on coaching England's young Lions. They're also in Australia, of course, this winter. You can hear Flintoff's full interview on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
To another qualifier. So far, it's a campaign full of flawless results, but full of flawed performances.
Not a performance that makes you think that anything has changed. And England have beaten Albania by 2-0.
He is an elite coach, but there's always going to be that element of nerves to it because it's your first international job. It's a powerhouse like England as well. So much expectation.
More boos from the England fans that have stayed in. Very little to write home about. And Northern England won.
First time under Thomas Tuchel, everything really clicked.
A stunning performance and a quite magnificent victory. 5-0.
There's enough talent in this squad to be brilliant on their day. There's no doubt about that.
Saka turning it onto his left foot. Oh, it's a beautiful goal.
We want to have both foots and the body and everything on the plane, of course, but next obstacles to overcome and we need to be ready.
The passport to the World Cup if they can win in Latvia.
Yes, England can confirm World Cup qualification tomorrow with a win against Latvia. Joining us now to chat about that and a bit of Luton as well is our England correspondent, Faye Carruthers. Hi, Faye.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Andy. I think you would love Riga, the pair of you. This is your kind of place. It's lovely.
It looks nice. Beautiful, actually. Yeah, it's behind you. Very nice indeed. I think it's interesting. You've chatted to him a lot. You get the feeling with Thomas Tuchel, he's really imposing himself on the squad now. This idea that it's going to be a team. It's not just going to be the best players.
Yeah, without a doubt, is the first thing he said to me when I interviewed him when he first took over the job a year ago in October, that he wanted to create the best team and he was going to take the best team out to the USA, Mexico and Canada if they qualified, and not just the best players. And he's been really consistent in that message. He wants the players to step up. He knows that they've got close on a couple of occasions now. They just need pushing over the line. So he's being quite hard with them, and he will only take the best team. If that upsets some people, I don't think, because of the short-term contract that he has, that he cares that much. He was brought in to bring silverware back to England for the first time since 1966, and that's what he's tasked with doing, and that's what he intends to do. But he's been really clever, actually, in many ways, as he is, because he's adept at dealing with the media. And even after the game against Wales the other day, he was highlighting the fact that, England are actually challengers, is the term that he used. He wants to make sure that people think that we're going into the World Cup not as favourites, which, we're not favourites, but we are, one of the top teams to be going in. But he wants to play down that expectation, I think.
I think he's also learning that what can seem like a harmless comment when your England manager gets pretty heavily inflated.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what happened with,
you should know that.
with us on talkSPORT when he talked about Jude Bellingham, and then last week making that comment about the fans. Then he went into the press conference and he said, "That's your first question?" He seemed surprised. Well, look, that it creates headlines.
Well, I think he knew what he was doing when he did that Bellingham comment.
Yeah,
maybe, and maybe when he had a pop at the crowd as well.
I don't think he knew what. I don't think he would have. Had he had his time again, I don't think he would have used the word repulsive. I knew what he was trying to say, because we've all seen Jude Bellingham when he gets pent up and he gets angry, and it overspills at times. He's 22 years old and he wants to win and he's passionate. And when he goes, crosses the line, sometimes it does go a little bit, too far. But that is part of what makes him a really special player. So I do think, because I was in the room when he did that interview with Stuart Pearce and Adrian Durham, and I genuinely think, it wasn't a marked comment. It was in conversation. It was straight after the Senegal match the night before, when Jude had kicked over a water cooler and reacted quite angrily to the defeat, and that was his response. But he has apologised. He used the wrong word. I don't think it was pointed. I think that he just selected the wrong word.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what he does.
So no Ollie Watkins, which is a bit of a shame for him. I mean, whacking his knee when he attempted to score that goal. I mean, we don't know how bad it is, but obviously they don't want to take any risks, and they don't really need to, do they?
No, and I'm sure Aston Villa don't want them to take any risks either. And you're right, they don't need to, because there are players that can come in and play that number 9 position. We saw Anthony Gordon come on when Ollie Watkins didn't come out for the second half against Wales. Marcus Rashford moved over to the left and Anthony Gordon played through the middle. Marcus himself can play through the middle. There's players that can do it. Jared Bowen as well. So there's no point risking him. Actually, young Spurs forward Dane Scarlett joined the team for training at the Tottenham Hotspur training ground earlier on today, because they did need to make up the numbers in that way, and he happened to be on site. Of course, he's been part of the England youth age groups before, so that's who was there for training. But Ollie Watkins has gone back to Aston Villa, which I have to say makes perfect sense, really, because it did look a painful one.
It did. We do lack, it's obviously, I thought we lost something when he went off, and of course no Kane as well. And Anthony Gordon was playing really well on the layout. I don't think he's a striker. I've seen him miss headers like that, air headers, air shots. It's not his position. So we do need some more. We could do with Liam Delap.
Well, we were talking last week to Ben Jacobs about this. There's been a few stories about Ivan Toney potentially coming back to the Premier League in January, but
I don't think he fancies him.
When he was involved last time, I mean, he wasn't involved last time, was he? He was there in the squad, but he didn't get any minutes.
No, he didn't. But, again, he's playing in the Saudi Pro League at the moment. And so perhaps Thomas Tuchel saw in training that he's not quite up to the speed that he was when he was with Brentford in the Premier League. If he does come back to the Premier League, he offers something different, Ivan Toney. He's got a swagger about him. He can win fouls. He wins penalties. He's brilliant at taking penalties himself, and I think he would be worth a punt to bring. Equally, Ollie Watkins is absolutely fantastic. Let's see how the rest of his season goes with Aston Villa. Harry Kane should be back for the Latvia game tomorrow. I saw him after the Wales game training, and he was kicking the football again, which was what the concern had been, which was why he wasn't risked for the game against Wales. So, you would expect him to be starting. Jordan Pickford's in front of the media tonight, though, rather than Harry Kane, which is going to be really interesting. They should be flying over right now, actually, to Riga, and obviously Jordan Pickford has made headlines this week for for securing his 8th consecutive clean sheet, which is an England record, and he's just 7 minutes away now from breaking the record of most minutes without conceding a goal. He's on 720 at the minute, and the record is 726. So if he starts, which we're assuming he will do because he's going to be in front of the media later on tonight, that he'll break that. Fingers crossed for him. I can't see Latvia scoring an early goal tomorrow night.
No. And finally, on to domestic matters, we're going to hear from your new manager. You're a Luton Town fan, Faye, and Jack Wilshere is the new gaffer. Chris Powell's gone in as his assistant, and he spoke to talkSPORT after his first press conference today. This is what he had to say.
The best way to build energy is to fill the stadium, is to get bums on seats, is to get people here, is to get people talking about it. This is not Jack Wilshere's Luton. This is Jack Wilshere and what he can bring, and how he's been shaped football with the help of Luton, aligning with Luton's values, with what is good here at the moment. And yeah, I'm completely ready, Moose.
Yeah, and going back to where he started when he was 8 years old at Luton, so a bit of homecoming for him. You pleased, Faye?
Yeah, I'm pleased for him. We'll see what he can implement with the group of players that he's got. He knows some of the players. I thought it was unfortunate for Matt Bloomfield, 11th and 3 points off the playoffs, but the football just wasn't exciting the crowd. Kenilworth Road has felt really flat since that relegation from the Championship to League One. And, I'm a season ticket holder, and my family, go every single week. And when I'm not at football, I try and go when I'm not working. But there's something that's just not quite felt right at the ground recently. So this hopefully will give a new injection of energy, as Jack said there. And he speaks really well to the media. And I think it's really important that he's brought Chris Powell in as his number 2 as well. So you've got experience, because obviously this is the first time that Jack Wilshere is going to be taking charge of a club, and a club which has a lot of expectations on it, bearing in mind it was in the Premier League just a few seasons ago.
Faye, we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Take care. See you later.
There we are. There's Faye Carruthers there over in Riga.
Never been. Does look very nice.
Does look very nice. Very picturesque. Very, very Christmassy. Although we're a ways off, obviously. We're going to be talking a bit of Scottish football, reflecting on Scotland last night. Danny Rowe looks like he's in the box seat for Rangers, and only Scott Brown could get sent off in a friendly, in a charity match. Anyway, Stuart Weir's going to join us to chat about that. We're here with our good friends at Tool Station, standing by every single tradesperson of Britain. Next stop, Tool Station.
Power on talkSPORT. Check out Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Yes, just before we talk Scotland and Rangers, it's our bet builder with Paddy Power. Fern Buckley is with us once again. We're going to look ahead to the World Cup qualifier this evening, as well as take on Belgium in Cardiff. Hi, Fern.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Not too bad, thanks. So just briefly explain how the bet builder works.
Yeah, we've all made a pick of bets, put them together to get some overall value. Paddy Power, I've chucked a tenner on it, hoping we get it right, because when we do, all the winnings go to the Attitude Foundation, who do great work with the LGBT community.
OK, I'll kick us off. Both teams to score.
Yeah, I like this one because, well, not this bit, but Wales have proven pretty vulnerable lately, haven't they? Conceding 7 times before in the first half, actually, across their past 4 fixtures. But the reverse fixture between these two was an exciting game. Wales scoring 3 times to Belgium's 4. Could be a similar match, and that's an 8-11.
Andy, you've gone Kevin De Bruyne to score or assist any time.
Well, he usually does.
He normally does, let's be honest, yeah.
Yeah, right. He's been in good form for Belgium as well during the current World Cup qualifiers. 4 goals, 1 assist in 5 games. He was a thorn in Wales' side, getting that winner in the match in the summer. So for him to score or assist is actually at evens on Paddy Power.
Producer Sean has gone for a Belgian win.
Yeah, they're unbeaten after 5 matches, a few draws in there against North Macedonia. Wales were unfortunate to not get that point after that goal from De Bruyne. But Belgium scoring plenty at the moment. I know they've had maybe a little bit easier run of games as of late, but lots of goals. And for them to win is at 8-11.
The listeners have got it in, well, not the listeners, the Paddy Power punters got it in for Zorba Thomas. They think he's going to be shown a card.
Yeah, they do. There's a couple of thousand people in their bet builder this afternoon.
Really?
But I think because last time they played, he spoke out about Belgium's lack of respect. There's probably a bit of lingering tension from there, which could make it a bit more heated, add to the pressure of it being a qualifier. He's been shown 2 yellows this season in the Championship. So for him to be shown a card in this game is in at 15-8.
And what's your selection, Fern?
I've gone for Jeremy Doku to have 2 or more shots, not on target, just shots in overall. He's had 6, including 2 on target in Belgium's recent draw against North Macedonia. So I think he could be pretty influential again. Fingers crossed for our bet builder. That's in at 1-10.
And so collectively, what are we looking at odds-wise?
Not too bad. All comes in about 15-1. So from a £10 bet, you get a return of 160 quid. And if we get it right, of course, it goes straight to the Attitude Foundation.
Brilliant. Thanks, Fern. Catch up with you soon.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
There we are. That's Paddy's bet builder for today. Minimum odds 1 to 5 per leg. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. Check out Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Going to talk Scotland now, and indeed Rangers, who look like they could be homing in on a new gaffer. Stuart Weir, Scottish football expert, friend of the show, joins us. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Stuart.
Yeah, we got Stuart. Is he there? Hello, Stuart. Oh, he's on mute, apparently. Can you unmute yourself, Stuart?
I didn't put myself on mute. I never do. I just sit very quietly in the corner of the room and wait for somebody to speak to me.
Yeah, now look, Scotland won a big qualifier last night, a really important game, but everybody, I'm sure the fans, the players, the manager, because he said it afterwards,
especially the manager,
came away disappointed. It was, I mean, I say I watched the game, and I think that goal probably would have stood in the Premier League, the Belarus equaliser. It was a nuts performance. It was such a strange night, wasn't it?
You don't watch Scotland for pleasure. This is your punishment for what you did as a kid. And and I think watch the last 2 games. I mean, to be honest, they beat Greece 3-1. Had Greece a striker with any note up front. The game was over by half time. Yesterday, it was pretty turgid stuff. I agree with you with the goal that was disallowed for Belarus. But suddenly Scotland are 2 goals up and cruising. And next thing, they're suddenly hanging on. Belarus just stick all their big men, all their defenders up front, and suddenly Scotland went into a panic. And I mean, there are 2 real reasons for that. One, Scotland just don't score enough goals when they're supposed to. And defensively, it's a bit like an old episode of Your Life in Their Hands. Anything could happen in the next half hour, and usually does.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, look, they still won. The bottom line is the manager was saying, Steve Clarke, I know it's all about the result, but he was very disappointed.
They're going to have to play a lot better in the next 2 games.
I mean, if they can, the idea of it all being decided with a game against the Danes in the, I mean, what could possibly go wrong, Stuart?
Plenty. I mean, we discussed this ahead of the Euros when you guys were up in Glasgow about all the feelings and all the faults that Scotland had, and none of them have changed in the last year or so. It's where we're at with Scottish football. We have a decent bunch of players, but that's about as good as it gets. And then when you see what Denmark do to Belarus, we score a couple of goals, take 3 points. Yeah, that's a good start. And all of a sudden, Denmark score 6, and that's what you're up against. I mean, the goal difference just now, I think something like 6 goals. And I know it doesn't count for anything, but it does if it's a tie, and that's what Scotland have to try and avoid.
Now, on to Rangers, and the fact that Steven Gerrard has turned it down has meant Danny Roll, formerly at Sheffield Wednesday, looks like he's currently the bookie's favourite to get the gig. It's bad,
though, when you know someone else was favoured over you. But
the thing is, I don't know what you think, Stuart. Look, Sheffield Wednesday are a big club, but they are a championship club at the moment. And to go into Rangers now, with the scrutiny, with everything that's gone on so far with Russell Martin, you wonder, does he have the heft in terms of profile to go and to do that job? It feels a bit risky.
Yeah, let me just reenact what's going on within Ibrox just now with the front door. Next! Yeah. And that's what it's like. If there's anybody else standing out there, just drag them in, kicking and screaming. Do you want a job or don't you? Yeah. Oh, you do. Listen, the whole Steven Gerrard thing seemed to be signed and sealed. I did warn people. Listen, this is a different Rangers that we're talking about here. Unless he's actually signed something in blood, I wouldn't believe that Steven Gerrard was going to walk through the door. And you can actually see why. There might be certain reasons. There's umpteen reasons. It's all speculation, of course, but you could see that Steven Gerrard coming in there and wanting to do things a certain way and doing it for himself wouldn't fit in with the current model. So we've got a new kid off the taxi line, so to speak. People will say, yeah, he's a championship manager. Unfortunately for Rangers, that's where they're shopping just now. They're shopping for championship players. And they also have guys on high at the club that seem actually to think that that's not a bad place to, not a bad starting point. A lot of it's down to finance. I think a lot of it's down to ambition as well. And Andy's point there is absolutely spot on. You've got a guy there who might take the job who suddenly think was a second choice, third choice, fourth choice, or have I just got this gig by accident? And that's a pity. You want to see somebody coming in and get a good run at it, which I think under current circumstances, especially after the summer appointment of Russell Martin, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for anyone coming in.
And finally, what a story this is. The Wim Janssen Cup was played between Celtic and Feyenoord. And it was just a bit of a hit and giggle between ex-players, legends of both clubs. But not for Scott Brown, who got himself sent off.
That takes some doing.
Sent off in a charity match for misering the ref.
I do wonder what the punishment will be. Will they be fined or will they be made to attend more charity events? Will they suddenly become an auctioneer at charity events or have to sit there at a dinner table with people he doesn't like? I've actually filed this one under passionate because, I mean, a man following the referee might have been a giveaway as well, never mind just being mic'd up. But what a story.
Oh, good stuff. Thank you, Stuart. We'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.
See you soon, guys.
Next year.
Stuart
Diego Costa also got booked on Saturday in the Chelsea-Liverpool.
There was a chance.
Almost had a fight with Skirtle. He really fronted him up.
He's not changed, does he? Doesn't look any different, does he, Bluto?
No.
He doesn't look any different at all, really.
Yeah.
So, still to come this afternoon. A very enjoyable grand final in the World of Super League at the weekend. But the scoreline doesn't really tell the full story. Hull KR were the winners. But Wigan so easily could have been 12-0 up after about 15, 20 minutes. Anyway, we'll reflect on that. And a high number of the players who featured at the weekend are part of Sean Wayne's team that would contest the Ashes in Rugby League. Gets underway at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time. Mark Wilson, who was your commentator alongside Paul Cook for us on Saturday evening, we'll be chatting about that. We hear from one of the England players as well. Dean Saunders is going to join us to talk Wales-Belgium. We'll look back over the weekend in the WSL. And Mark Pugach of ITV fame tells us how he fared when he took part in the World Conquer Championships at the weekend. That's all to come. For Hawksbee Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Lots to come in the final hour of the show, but first Matt Hutchinson has the sports headlines.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Score a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon. The club's story inspires me. The words of Jack Wilshere after being officially unveiled as Luton's new manager. It's his first permanent senior role, and the former Arsenal midfielder has been speaking to talkSPORT.
This is not Jack Wilshere's Luton. This is Jack Wilshere and what he can bring, and how he's been shaped football with the help of Luton, aligning with Luton's values, with what is good here at the moment.
Luton currently sit 11th in League One after back-to-back relegations. Chris Powell will be Wilshere's number 2. Now, from one former Arsenal talisman to their current one, talkSPORT understands Martin Odegaard will be out for up to 6 weeks with an MCL injury. He hurt his knee in the Gunners' 2-0 win over West Ham before the international break. Meanwhile, Ollie Watkins is also injured and has been ruled out of England's World Cup qualifier against Latvia tomorrow, which is live on talkSPORT. The striker hasn't recovered from a knock he picked up against Wales. Now, Paul Gascoigne says the happiest days of his playing career were north of the border with Rangers. He's also told talkSPORT why he tries to avoid drinking these days.
Years ago, I used to be a happy drunk, and now it's like if I have a drink and I'm a bit drunk, then I get sad, and then I lock myself away. It's not as if I go out and drink. It's like always indoors on my own, so it's a waste of time anyway, you know. It's not as if I go out and enjoy it.
To hear the full interview with Gazza, head over to talkSPORT's Outspoken podcast feed. And Ben Stokes and Mark Wood will be raring to go in time for the Ashes. That's according to England bowler Bryden Cast. He says the pair are looking near enough 100% fit. The first test in Perth starts on the 21st of November.
talkSPORT News.
Donald Trump says there's a historic dawn of a new Middle East after phase 1 of his Gaza peace plan was rolled out, and 2 prisoners have appeared in court charged with murdering paedophile singer Ian Watkins. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Over the next few hours, we're expecting some sunshine in Scotland, as well as northern and western England. Mostly cloudy in the south and east, though, with the odd spot of drizzle.
Background, Hull Kingston Rovers are your new Super League champions of 2025. They are the treble winners of 2025. They came, they took and they conquered, and they leave Old Trafford with their dreams realised. Wigan's frustrations spill out after the hooter. For them, their title defence couldn't go on. They're 2 and done. 2025 is the year of the Robin. They've beaten Wigan by 24 points to 6.
Yeah, it was a cracking game. Really
I was
enjoyable
annoyed.
game.
Wigan are my team, my rugby league team. So when they threw away those 2 tries in the beginning, I was really angry.
Well, the final score was 24-6.
It would have been a different game altogether. If they...
Well, it would have been, but you had to go out at that point. And I was saying to you, but it's now going to be a better game, because if it was 12-0 after 20 minutes, you may have thought game over. Anyway.
And followed by that sin bin, which really killed them.
That, exactly. So, Mark Wilson was commentating alongside Paul Cook, formerly of Hull KR, and Mark joins us now. Hi, Mark.
Hi, boys. How are we doing? Okay?
Good, thanks. There was always a danger that it could be, we talked to Paul the day before the game, that with 2 such good defences, it could have been quite attritional. But those early couple of chances that were fluffed, really, but by really unlikely players by Wigan, which meant they weren't 12-0 up, and suddenly it was game on. A bit of magic by Mikey Lewis opened it up. I thought it was a really enjoyable game.
Yeah, it was. I'm with you guys. I think if Wigan had scored those 2 tries earlier on, they'd have just closed the game out, and it'd have been like the previous 2 grand finals where Wigan have got in front and just strangled their opponent. I thought at that point, and I think Paul thought it as well, I think if Hull KR are never going to win a grand final, they've got to win now, having had those 2 opportunities wasted against them. And then they took their chance and they played really well and deserved to win.
It was a mad tackle following those 2 missed shots. That, the spear tackle, wasn't it? Got in the sin bin.
Yeah.
They scored 2 tries, didn't they, in that period?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They were just starting to threaten Hull KR with Lewis. He'd had a couple of good runs before he made the break, and obviously the player short. And as Cookie said in commentary, if they've got another player on the field, does Joe Burgess score that great try in the corner? Probably not. So it was crucial. Did swing the game in Rovers' favour.
It was interesting. I heard Sam Tompkins talking before the game, saying that it was important for Mikey Lewis to step up, because he didn't quite call him a flat track bully, but what he was basically saying was, we haven't seen him do it at the highest level to turn it on and change a game. And he did that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Fair play. That's the stick everyone's been using to beat him with. Yeah, you're good during the regular season. What do you do when it really counts? But you look at his year, kicked the winning goal in the cup final, didn't he, at the end to win it, and scored the first try and was player of the match in the grand final. So I think he's answered his critics in good style. He started off really well this year, Mike. He maybe faded away a little bit in the mid-season, but he's ended it very much on a high.
As you reflect on the season, it's been an interesting season. We've got a troubled season off the field, a lot of confusion. I think we probably will be chatting to you on Thursday, because we're going to find out the 14 teams that will be contesting Super League, because there's been a lot of transition, a lot of turmoil off the field, but some really good rugby league on it.
Yeah, it might be Thursday and Friday. They're naming the 12 that are going to be in the Super League, and then they're considering they might have 2 more on Friday, so it could be a busy week. But I think on the field, I think it's been a good year. Look, the best two teams made it to the grand final in Hull KR and Wigan. I don't think anyone can complain about that. But Leeds were much better this year. Lee have continued their forward progress. They're knocking on the door now as a next grand final winner. So I think there's more competition. I think it's been a good year this year. Hull had a good year despite loads of injuries, almost made it to the playoffs. So, yeah, all in all, a good year on the field.
Now, Shaun Wane announced his England squad for the first test against Australia in a couple of weeks' time at Wembley. Let's hear from West Tigers centre Kai Pearce-Paul. He has made the squad for the game, and he had a chat with you, Mark, on Saturday when I think we all knew that he was going to be in it ahead of the grand final at Old Trafford. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. You know, it's the first Ashes series for a very long time, and you know, it's been a long time coming. We've had a few good sort of wins the last few years, you know, Samoa and Tonga, and I think this is sort of the pinnacle for us, and it will really put us to the test, so I'm really excited for that.
What's it been like being an Englishman in Australia in the build-up to an Ashes series?
Well, it's not been easy, you know. I've got a lot of talk from the Aussies, and it's not been hard. It's not been easy, but you know, I'm real excited to sort of play against some people I play against all the time, and especially some of my teammates too.
Nice to hear a London accent. He's a Lewisham boy. It's always quite nice to hear that in rugby league. That was the big headline is Jake Connor, who was Man of Steel, just been announced Man of Steel, not in the squad. I mean, what did you make of that, Mark?
Yeah, look, I think anyone that's watched rugby league for a long time, Jake Connor's a great player. He's had a fine year, really good year, Man of Steel winner. He's not been involved with England under Shaun Wane, and highly unlikely. He's just not Shaun Wane for whatever reason. I think maybe his defensive side of his game, he just doesn't fancy him. It's as simple as that. And it was no surprise to me he didn't get picked. I don't think anyone really in the game expected him to be in either. So it seems harsh because he had such a good year, and he has had a good year as well. But he's not in, and it'll be up to the likes of the rest to make up for his absence.
Did you think Shaun knew his team? Because it felt like there was a few boys who sort of played their way in at the weekend. Do you think that was the case, or do you think he already knew who was going to be picked?
I don't know. I'd say there was a little bit of doubt. But, you know, you mentioned Mikey Lewis, big game. What has he done in a big game? Well, now he has done it in a big game. And to be fair, when he played for England before, he did really well under Shaun Wane. So he's got a bit of credit there. Jez Litton was the one. I was worried he was going to miss out the whole KR hockey. He's been outstanding this year. You wondered if he was going to get in. He has got in, rightly so. So I think those two played their way in. I think with Shaun, he's been loyal to some players that have not been in form for a long time. And those players, I think, really need to pay him back in this series if they're going to. Well, George Williams will feature, but he's had a poor year at Warrington. If you're picking on form, he wouldn't get in a lot of people's team at this point.
Now, just finally onto the darts. You cover the darts for us as well, Mark. And we were chatting last week about, or Luke Littler was saying that he really doesn't like the Grand Prix, doesn't like going in on a double and ending on a double. Well, you wouldn't have thought it from the way he played in the tournament, especially the way he played against Luke Humphries last night.
No,
ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. You know, I mean, he could have gone out, couldn't he, Gerwyn Price had a dart to knock him out, and he didn't take him out, and that's it. You're not getting many goals at this guy, and no one else got a go at him thereafter, did they? He was outstanding, and he's really got the bit between his teeth in terms of the fact that he's chasing down Luke Humphries to become the world number one. He's got something to go at, and he's not far behind him now, and I think over the next couple of months he might well overtake him. So, yeah, outstanding again. What can we say that we've not already said about him? He's fantastic, but you've got to take your chance when you get it, and Gerwyn Price didn't, and everyone else paid the price for it.
We were first talking about him 2 years ago, and we did our PDC World Darts Championship preview show, and hopefully we'll be doing that again this year. And he just won the World Youth Championship, and lo and behold, he's decided to play playing it again. He's going to be playing in this one.
He said that won't make me very popular.
No, that's true. So he's going to try and win 60 grand. Well, no, it's 12 grand or 60. That's a lot. 12 grand up for grabs, but he's allowed to play. Anybody up to the age of 24 can play, so why not?
Yeah, I think he's been playing today, hasn't he, in the qualifiers for it. It happens in the middle of the Players' Championship final, so he could well win the World Youth Championship and win the Players' Championship final within about 2 hours of each other. So, look, you can't fault his attitude. He wants to play. And what I will say about Luke is, at the last World Championship, they had the tournament for the Junior World Championship, and he went in his own spare time. He went and he presented the trophy, and I thought that was a great thing for him to do. Didn't have to do it, but he's encouraging the next level to come on, although he's probably getting in their way a little bit at the minute, but that's life, isn't it? You can't fault the guy. He wants to win everything, doesn't he?
Somebody was tweeting earlier on, he's just won his first game in this youth tournament. He won his first game, took out 130, 160 and 161. They're pretty decent averages for a youth tournament. I imagine it's a fair bit better than other people.
Yeah, look, hey, there's some great young players coming. The really, really good young players coming through. That's going to be a great tournament to watch in the future. Of course, they all want to emulate the man himself.
Yeah, it'll benefit them playing against him as well. They'll either win or they'll learn a lot. So
that's true. Nice one, Mark. Well, hopefully we'll catch up with you at the end of the week and we'll know the 12, 14 teams, whatever new ideas they've got are in shape by then. But for now, thanks very much.
Top stuff. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Mark Wilson there, our Super League commentator, brought us the grand final at the weekend. And I'd like to think there was a few people there that sampled it because there wasn't any Premier League football and there was an opportunity to watch some live sport, and I hope they got into it and they'll get behind the sport because it is a great watch. Right. And the Ashes should be fantastic. We'll keep you in touch with those and build up to those 3 games, 2 of which are sold out. And I think tickets are selling well for Wembley as well. So Mark Pugac joins us later on. He'll be off, I guess, to Latvia tomorrow to work for ITV. But he warmed up for that by playing in the World Conquer Championships. We'll find out how he got on. We'll talk a bit of WSL, and we'll be joined by Dean Saunders. Dino will give us his take on Wales v Belgium tonight. We're here with Toolstation, standing behind every single tradesperson of Britain. Next stop, Toolstation.
time. And it's another win for England against Wales. Same story that it has been every time these two have met since 1984. England racing into a fabulous 3-0 lead with goals from Rodgers, Watkins and Saka. Belgrade was brilliant. It hasn't been too bad tonight here at Wembley either. And the feeling remains that England are certainly moving in the right direction. They've beaten Wales tonight by 3-0.
Yep, sobering night for Wales in the build-up to a huge game against Belgium this evening.
It was more the first 20 minutes. After that, I thought they did all right.
They defended well,
over,
but England had dropped the intensity a bit because they'd got the job done. So let's get the thoughts heading into tonight then from our very own former Wales striker, Dean Saunders. Hi, Dino.
Morning, Andy. Morning, afternoon, Andy. Afternoon, Paul. I'm a bit nervous.
Oh, yeah, sure.
First time caller. Dean, there was two schools of thought last week. A wake-up call for Wales for them to be better on Monday, or an absolute disaster and the worst way to prepare for a big game. How did you see it?
Well, it could have been a disaster. At one point, I was at the game. After 20 minutes, as you said, 3-0 down. There could have been 5 or 6. And then eventually I thought we're going to get beat 7 or 8-0, and he's gone with his strongest team, which I thought, to be honest, the whole fixture was ridiculous. Why we were playing England 4 days before we've got the biggest game in the group was beyond me. But luckily, no injuries. As the days have gone by, I've started to think the bonuses of that game is it just shows if you are passive in your own last third against a world-class football team and you don't stop the ball coming in your box, which is the idea of football, stop the ball coming in your box, don't get behind the ball and just be passive. Tonight, we might be able to put that into place because, make no mistakes, we're playing against a brilliant Belgium team.
Yeah. I mean, in the last game against Belgium, they found themselves 3-0 down and behind the 8 ball. Somehow staged this miraculous comeback and ultimately lost it, didn't they? So they have been conceding a fair few. Were there worries for you defensively from what you saw, Dean?
There was, yeah. But, I mean, Craig Bellamy has gone in there with an idea. And when you're the manager, even if you're wrong, but you believe in yourself, what you're saying is right, he's convinced the players this is the way forward. And it's quite open football he's going to play. He's going to play sort of thinking about scoring goals, not stopping them going in. So you are going to leave yourself. Sometimes you lose the ball and your back four are the full width of the pitch and you leave gaps everywhere. That's going to happen. So I just think tonight, after that pasting we got off England, if you bear in mind, if you play England, you want to be going there with full strength team and not come out with any injuries. We've got that tonight. So we've got to mix it up a little bit. We've got to make sure when we get behind the ball tonight, I mean, Doku is on fire. He should have scored 6 against Macedonia, and that results give us an even better chance, the 0-0 draw with Macedonia. So you've got Doku, Trossard and De Bruyne tonight coming at you. If you let them pick the head up, the 3 of them, you're in big trouble. So we've got to close them down.
100th cap for Ben Davies. That's a pretty good achievement, isn't it?
Do you know what? I mean, what a player for Wales. Since 2016, he's hardly missed a game. He plays the same every week. He never lets Spurs down. Sometimes he'll get done for pace or something, something down that line, but he never really puts in a 3 out of 10. He's got 100 caps for Wales and he'll become a legend. I mean, he'll still keep going. I don't think he's that old. And what a player he's been for us. But 100 caps tonight, so well done to Ben.
What do you think they need if they're going to get a result tonight? Then what's going to be up front anyway? I mean, Kiefer Moore continues to say he's been a handful in games. He continues to be difficult to deal with. I mean, he is a bit of a weapon for Wales, isn't he?
Yeah, well, we got obviously Ramsey, Dan James, 2 starters are missing, and Aaron Ramsey's struggling to stay fit. But Dan James, lightning fast. Brennan Johnson, lightning fast. David Brooks, silky, and Harry Wilson, silky on the ball. You've got Kiefer Moore as a target man, and that's our strength of our team. We've got Nico Williams who can run. Connor Roberts has done his ACL, so he's not playing. He can run as well normally. So we're an athletic team, and we can create chances against most teams. It's whether we get caught trying to play through the opposition sometimes and give goals away. But we've definitely got players who can supply Kiefer more. And for me, Harry Wilson's our best player. You know, we've all got wingers playing for our teams that don't have an end product. Harry Wilson either scores or makes a goal every time I watch him play.
Yeah. He's going to have a massive say in qualification tonight. It is the kind of defining game of the group. It's pretty huge, isn't it? Are you feeling pretty optimistic? Would you be happy with a draw tonight?
No, I think we've got to win. You know, if we draw tonight, you're relying on Belgium dropping points, which I can't see it. We've got 3 games left. We've got to win them all. We've also got a playoff game to fall back on because we've done so well in the Nations League. But it's in our hands tonight. The crowd are going to be vital. It's going to be a full house in Cardiff. I'm going to the game. They do play their part, and the players have got to be up for the game. And we've got to find a yard of pressure from somewhere all over the pitch than we had against England.
Dean, enjoy the match. Lovely to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Thanks, lads.
There we are. There's Dean Saunders there, the former Wales striker, on his way to the match tonight.
Is it the Millennium or the...
No, it's Cardiff City Stadium, yeah. You'll be kept in touch with that from 7 o'clock in kick-off with Natalie Sawyer, Danny Murphy and Darren Lewis. They'll be right across all the qualifying games and matches this evening. And building up to it, I'm sure, and England, lots more besides, will be Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent at 4 this afternoon. Well, it was just another shop window for Women's Super League as well.
Yeah,
with no Premier League.
And there was very tight this season.
Yeah, there were some very interesting matches. So I watched the Chelsea versus Spurs game where we parked the bus and it wasn't quite enough.
Nope.
So anyway,
own goal in the Manchester United game.
Yes, that's right. And a bit of a worrying moment in one of the matches, but thankfully the player's okay. Anyway, Angelina Kelly will take us through the WSL weekend, and then Mark Pugac joins us to look ahead to England, Latvia, but also to tell us about how he got on at the World Conquer Championships over the weekend. That's all to come.
Jack Wilshere is the new Luton manager, his first senior role.
I think it's a great opportunity for Jack. And given the time that I spent with him, and I've spoken to him subsequent, I think he's focused on being successful as a manager for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I think he'll have all the disciplines and none of the big-time player stuff.
Well, Simon Jordan says there's a lot more to the thinker, Jack Wilshere, than meets the eye. Chris Powell will be his number 2. More on that one at talksport.com. Jordan Pickford has agreed terms on a new long-term deal at Everton. We understand that will keep Pickford at the club till 2029. Ollie Watkins is out of England's World Cup qualifier in Latvia that's live on talkSPORT tomorrow. The striker hasn't recovered from a knock in the win over Wales. Now, Paul Gascoigne has told White and Jordan the happiest time of his career came at Rangers, but he struggles to look back at his best moments on the pitch.
I find it hard to watch football. Some of the clips when I think, God, I wish I had that back. I love that 90 minutes because that was my freedom.
And Andrew Flintoff has told talkSPORT he regrets taking the England captaincy in 2006, but felt he was expected to. Right now, Fred is 100% focused on coaching England's young Lions. They're also in Australia, of course, this winter. You can hear Flintoff's full interview on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
Just before we talk WSL, just a reminder that the latest episode of 21 Minutes to Go, the podcast with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy, is out now. This week, the boys chat Mystery Voices, the world-famous midnight train to madness, and we hear about Cundy's questionable search history. Aye.
If you were sat by the computer now, Google's open, what are you typing in?
Man marries pig.
Have you ever done that? Have you typed that in?
Yeah. Man marries monkey?
No. Right, where are these?
Man, I typed in man marries monkey, right? And I've read this whole article and I'm thinking this is great. And apparently what happened was this whole village turned up, right, to watch this
ceremony.
The ceremony, right? And he married 2 monkeys.
Oh, not to another human.
No.
He married 2 monkeys.
I read about 10 minutes into it, I'm thinking, when's he marrying them? But actually he was the priest of this village,
so
he just married 2 monkeys together. And I'm like, I've wasted 10 minutes of my life. I'm never going to get back.
A bit like now.
It was chaos at the buffet, wasn't it? Blimey, you can imagine that. So there we are, 21 minutes to go. It says here, not my words, Andy, if you want to spend 21 minutes of your life listening to that nonsense, go and enjoy 21 minutes to go.
I don't think Angelina will be.
No.
I get the sense not.
Favourite podcast provider now. Anyway, let's reflect on Women's Super League weekend, talk a bit of England with Angelina Kelly. Hi, Angelina.
Hello.
You watched the Goons in action this weekend, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Arsenal got a 1-0 win over Brighton. I felt like it was very similar to the game that they played against Aston Villa at the Emirates, which I was also at. That ended 1-1 and Villa got a late equaliser. The moment that Arsenal score a goal, the intensity drops massively and it seems to be really hard for them to keep up. They're so strong in the first 10-15 minutes. and they do drop off a little bit. It was Olivia Smith's strike which took a deflection and, you know, goes in as an own goal. I actually spoke to her after the game, and, you know, she said, I'll still try and claim it if I can. But, you know... Was
it on target, or she got
it was on target, but I think it did take a deflection. But, you know, she was talking really openly about, you know, moving to London, being £1 million player, and how it's been a little bit difficult for her, and players like Alessia Russo have, you know, helped her out, because Russo made the move from Manchester United to Arsenal. She tried to do a little bit of sightseeing, etc., and that she's living in St Albans. I think we've got a few TalkSport people that live in St Albans to get them, you know, out on the prowl.
Adrian's round that way. I'm sure he'll
bump into her in a coffee shop,
a pint or something.
Yeah.
One of the things with the WSL though is it's so tight that you can't afford a poor start to the season, which Arsenal have had, and they are behind now. And it's hard to see the teams in. You know, you could see one of them dropping 5
points off of Chelsea at the minute.
It's hard to see the three teams in front of them, or whatever it is, you know, doing.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, Arsenal are currently in 5th. You've got Spurs above them, who have had a really good start, but you would think Arsenal would be able to pick them. But you look at Manchester United, who are the only team apart from Chelsea that are still unbeaten, and Manchester City, who have had a really strong start as well, and don't look 100% at their best, but are still doing a really good job. So you do think about Arsenal and, you know, how they're going to keep up with that. Is it a little bit of a hangover from winning the Champions League? Then you've got the Women's Euros. A lot of their players will have been competing in that for different nations. But I think you could say the same about, you know, Chelsea or Manchester United, etc. A team like Man United have a much smaller squad depth in comparison to Chelsea and Arsenal. So, you know, I'm sure that Renée Slager, she doesn't strike me as the type of manager that would use that as an excuse, but maybe this international break is coming at a good time for them to kind of regroup and then come back a little bit stronger. But it will be tough to chase Chelsea, because they're not putting in amazing performances, but they're just getting the job done and getting the 3 points.
They're not playing well, though, that's true.
I watched them yesterday. I watched the game against Spurs, and it was attack versus defence. They had so many chances, Chelsea, but we defended stoutly, and the keeper made some good saves. But you knew it was coming. You knew there was no way they were going to hold out. It was a great goal by Katie Walsh. Great finish.
Yeah, really, really good goal from her. And I mean, you know, it's one of those, like you say, with Chelsea, they're so strong and they've got so many players that they can bring into games. You did feel like it was going to happen, but... You know, Spurs have won 4 of the first 6 games. They only won 5 games last season completely. Yeah. So I think you can definitely take some positives from it. And Spurs did well to kind of withstand the pressure from Chelsea. But yeah, Keira Walsh with that goal, Chelsea winning 1-0. It's just kind of business as usual, isn't it?
London City Lionesses are sort of consolidating. They have spent a lot of money, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to stay up. But they're sort of a solid 9 points, and they're doing pretty well, aren't they?
Yeah, they got a win over West Ham, who are still at the bottom of the table.
And looking at their sort of Millwall background, the London City line, they'd be delighted to beat West Ham, wouldn't they?
Yes, exactly. Because, of course, that's how they started and then became independent. But, you know, Aslani got the goal in the 68th minute. The West Ham goalkeeper is taking a goal kick, completely switches off, does not see Aslani to her right-hand side, who, through her experience, for people that don't know, she's a top player for Sweden. She was Real Madrid's first Galactica signing, you know, if you will. She's played with AC Milan. You know, she saw that the goalkeeper had switched off, just kind of ran over, took the ball off her, slotted it into the back of the net, no problem. So, but I think for London City Lionesses, when you're a promoted side, you don't want to be relegated. They've got big ambitions to be winning the WSL one day. I think it was a little bit of a humbling moment. You know, they had defeats against Arsenal, Man United, Man City, but, you know, to get points against Liverpool, Everton and West Ham, the amount of players, 17 new signings. And I think once they do click, and I spoke to Nikita Paris after the Man United loss, and she said, watch this space, because we've got so many talented players. And once we click, I think we have something special. So I think I think they'll stay up. And give it a couple of seasons, you never know.
Before you were born, there used to be a thing called own goals and gaffes. It was a Danny Baker thing.
I think remember, it probably was a video. Do you remember videos?
I do remember video. VHS, having to rewind the tapes and all that, don't worry.
But there was a goal in the Manchester United-Liverpool game that would have absolutely been perfect for that. Incredible own goal.
The own goal, I mean, Man United beating Everton 4-1. It's a shame because it was their first game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. For Everton women. They normally play at Goodison Park now, but, you know, it was a little bit of a shame. But the own goal, you know, the Everton defender, it kind of hits another player's back and then she tries to clear it, and it was just an absolute disaster. But I must say, Jess Park, She scored 2 great goals. Her and Ella Toone are linking up really nicely for Man United. And you do question, well, I did question when she made the move from City to United and Grace Clinton kind of went in the opposite direction. I thought, what's Mark Skinner thinking here? And it seemed like him and Grace Clinton, well, her and the club, weren't totally aligned on her future. But it's been a great decision, I think, because Jess Parker's really been shining. And I think her and Ella Toone playing so well together and assisting each other, it's good for Man United and it's good for England as well.
She got some Everton connection because she didn't celebrate.
Yeah, she used to play for Everton, Jess Park, so she didn't celebrate. A bit of an opposite to someone like Chloe Kelly.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Now the Lioness is going to be back in a couple of weeks. They've got a couple of games. Brazil and Australia they play.
Yes.
And it's going to be interesting to see the players that Serena Wiegman picks. We didn't have any high-profile retirements. We saw Lucy Bronze get back on the pitch for about 30 seconds yesterday. Yeah. But she's back. I wonder if she could be involved. She may need a few more tune-up games. She'll probably be in the squad. But Millie Bright's the interesting one who sat out the Euros.
Yeah.
Says she had no regrets about it. But has anybody said whether she said yet whether she's in the mix?
It seems a little bit unclear because obviously, Millie Bright, captain of Chelsea, very, very key for England in the last couple of major tournaments. She made the decision to not be part of the Euro side that won. She, like you say, she has no regrets over it. I think she had a couple of knocks and I think mentally she wanted to take time out. But she hasn't officially retired as far as I'm aware. And I think it will be an interesting decision if Serena Wiegman does decide to pick her. But there are a lot of players that could be in the mix. You look at Maya Letizier, who's Man United's captain, who she did go to the Euros but didn't play. She's absolutely fantastic, plays week in, week out. Leah Williamson is still out injured. So maybe because of that, she'll want to bring Millie Bright back for a bit of experience. But, we've seen Serena Wiegman make some cutthroat decisions sometimes, and she might look at it and think, well, you weren't part of that team. We're kind of evolving and moving forward. But Lauren James is still out injured. Lauren Hemp hasn't played since the 19th of September. Grace Clinton was not in City squad at the weekend because of a precaution due to a knock. So we'll have to see with that. But again, with the defenders, Katie Reid, she's only 19 years of age, but she's been filling in for Leah Williamson at Arsenal. She's barely put her foot wrong. She's done really good. So, you question, should she deserve, a place? You look at Alessia Russo, who is, a fantastic player. There's a reason why, she came third in the Ballon d'Or. But, she's got 2 goals and 2 assists. Aggie Beaver-Jones, 4 goals in 6 games. Should she be getting a start over? It'd be interesting to see. But, out of the 2 teams, Brazil are the only one that's in the top 10 of the FIFA World Ranking. So that will be the big one that you expect to see a full-strength side. Yeah. Maybe with Australia, she'll tinker with things.
Is the women's football show on tonight?
Yes, the women's football show with Leanne Sanderson is back. Obviously, you can get that however you listen to podcasts, and also it will be on talkSPORT too as well.
What time? Is it 6, 7?
7 o'clock,
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. As Angelina says, you can find it as a podcast as well. Thanks, Angelina. We'll see you soon. Angelina Kelly there reflecting on the WSL weekend. We're going to hear from Paul Gascoigne in a few moments' time. He was joined Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin Keogh, and had some really interesting stuff to say. We'll play you a little excerpt of that. Again, you'll be able to listen back on the talkSPORT app, I'm sure, to Gazza's chat. And we're going to have a chat with Mark Pugach, who, apart from fronting ITV's coverage of the England-Latvia game tomorrow night, warmed up by playing in the World Conquer Championship. We'll see how he fared now that all came about. And Andy's... There it is. Andy's obsession with his sign-off, which is now Andy's ringtone that he does in the ITV competition. Nuts. That's all coming up. We're here with Tool Station. Next stop, Tool Station. Paul Gascoigne was a guest in the studio with Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown a little bit earlier on. He was looking in good nick, which we were delighted to see in fine fettle. So lovely to see him. He had some really interesting stuff to say, reflecting on his career, including being omitted from Glenn Hoddle's 1998 World Cup squad.
I remember just going and I just knew I knew I had a rough idea that I wasn't going to the World Cup. So I had, I think Phil Neville was in the room. He must have panicked because he was in the room, and I kicked the door in, 2-footage TV, and I smashed picked up his wooden, smashed his lamps and everything. Went off it, and I think Phil did a runner quite quickly. I think it's the quickest he's ever moved, Phil. And then obviously he's like, apparently that the police were stayed. Bits of the TV, bits of his rooms on memorabilia behind the bar. Gazza did this.
Well, so the full interview is available on the Outspoken podcast with White and Jordan, and it's available on YouTube if you want to watch the chat back. It was a good chat. Now, we've been building up to the World Conquer Championship. We maintain that the people who organise it should be doing PR for all the great blue chip companies. They should be doing all of the X Factors PR because they plant stories in the build-up. The first one is we haven't got any conkers.
Shortage of conkers.
The weather's been so good / bad that we haven't got any conkers.
Yeah.
Then we're flying, the week later on, they're in every newspaper because they're flying conkers in from Holland, Germany, Italy, wherever. And then in the build-up to it, thankfully, we've now got the King's helped us out. The King supplied some conkers from his garden. And then we have the tournament itself, and it gets loads of coverage. Honestly, the World Cup of football.
Metal Conker Gate.
Exactly, Metal Conker Gate. Cheating, which wasn't cheating, we'd like to point out. But anyway, they took place this weekend. And one of the contestants is a man you know very well from the TV coverage of England games on ITV, Mark Pugach. And so we were intrigued to find out more. Good afternoon, Mark.
Paul, Andy, good afternoon. Hope you're well.
Yes, we are.
Thank you very much.
So how did this come about?
Like all these things, you two are the same as me. My children, my son has competed in it for 5 years because one of his best mates' parents live next door to the pub which hosts the World Conquer Championships. And the pub spills out into a big village green. And he went, Dad, you've got to come. And I went, I'm busy. Anyway, Dad, England aren't playing. Oh, there we are, the Lederhosen. I've just seen it, yeah. Said, Dad,
oh, look at
Dad,
that.
you're not playing. You and Mum come. And fancy dress is compulsory because they've started a tradition. You have to come in Lederhosen. I went, really? And he went, stop taking yourself so seriously. Come in Lederhosen. But his mum has an Austrian mother, so my wife has dirndls galore, so she was laughing, but I had to go shopping. There I am against his friend Jonty in the first round.
Oh. So how did you do? How far did you get in the tournament?
I got to the 4th round, so I mean
good.
The last 16, not bad. It's funny, I mean, obviously I read the stories you did about the conkers and the lack of them. I don't know whether I don't believe I'm going to say this sentence. I don't know whether the King's conkers are very hard because it was really difficult.
I think that's treasonable.
I think so. I'm off to Tower Bridge now. It was really hard to smash them. So a lot of them went to a penalty shootout. And when I lost, I was in a penalty shootout against Finn. Like you and I would have a penalty shootout. You miss, I hit, I've won. No, I had to go to best of 9. Anyway, Finn's conker had split in half. And I thought, well, I'm through because he's only got half a conker. And then the referee said, no, there's enough of a conker. So I made some joke about VAR, then looked at the referee who was dressed as a member of the Sealed Knot Society, you know, the Civil War people.
Yeah.
So he had a musket and a damn great big sword.
Wow.
I thought, well, I'm not arguing with a man with a sword. I'm out.
That's mad.
There was a changing of the guard because David Jenkins, King Conker, was lost his title to a woman dressed as a bee.
Yeah. Bee woman was very, very good. I mean, there are about 12 of us there. My son still hasn't got through the first round in 5 goes, so I'm absolutely taking the mickey out of him mercilessly. So the old man's got to round 4 first up. My wife lost in the first round. Listen, in all seriousness, with everything that's going on in the world, chaps, you'll get this. To have an afternoon, a day like that of English eccentricity with kids and bands and, you know, shove halfpenny and ice creams and burgers and laughter and a big beer tent. Of course, a big beer tent. was fantastic. It was such an entertaining and fun day.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it looks a lot of fun.
You always think it should be run by CONCACAF.
CONCACAF should get involved, from the world of football. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, Mark. I know you tune in now and again, but Andy is slightly obsessed by your sign-off that you do after the ITV It's his ringtone. Play it to Mark. He knows what it sounds like. Good luck. We think it sounds like you're standing there with your pipe in an airfield, just about to send the Lancasters off. Good luck.
I got alerted to this about 6 months ago because I do listen to you when I'm on the road. Yeah. And someone said, you know that Andy loves your good luck. I would admit to you two, obviously the competition is extremely important because it brings in a lot of money.
Yeah,
but there is a standing joke even before you two about my good luck. And when other people try and do it, the great Laura, our friend, Phil Douglas,
she did.
Basically, the general agreement is nobody can do good luck like you, Mark. And I think that will do on my headstone, won't it?
Well, during the Euros, I couldn't believe it because Woodsy, she was doing the women's Euros. She did the competition and she went, good luck. And I thought, she's definitely been listening to Andy. She's definitely been listening. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, you've got to be known for something, haven't you?
It's good stuff.
Wow, you've just been recording your podcast. We see you in the background. But tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's called How It All Played Out, and I do it with Paul Hayward, one of the great writers of our age. And listen, we're all obsessed with history and we're all obsessed with sport. Obviously, everybody listening to this podcast. And Paul and I just thought there are so many fantastic sporting stories that people know a little bit about, but actually they tell so much about what was going on in society at the time in terms of politics and race and equality and class and so forth. So, we've done stories on the disappearance of Shergar, the dirtiest race in history, the 88 Olympic final with Ben Johnson and Carl Lewis. We've just recorded this morning how El Clasico became as big as it is, how Italia 90 changed English football. And I know Andy loves his cricket, and I'm a cricket nut. We've done one on Bodyline and Kerry Packer. You can see where we're coming from, that there are so many good sporting stories which we can not just retell, but put in the context of today and the lessons that we can learn in today's world as well. So it's called How It All Played Out at Global Player, or wherever you get your podcasts, as they say, in his good luck voice. And I hope people will come along and enjoy that, because lots of people say to me, I know about Shergar, but they know the top line or two. They don't know the full story. They really don't.
Yeah, sounds good.
And see if you can get Roy Keane along to the World Conquer Championships next year, Mark.
What, in Lederhosen?
Oh yeah. Good luck with that. You'll get the proper Saipan eye, won't you, if you do that? Well, nice to talk to you. All the best. Thanks very much, Mark.
And you, and chaps, good luck.
Good luck. There we are, Mark Pugach there. Now, seconds, literally 10 minutes ago, we were chatting to Angelina Kelly saying, will Millie Bright be in the squad for the upcoming Lionesses games? And Angelina's... what's just popped up on our screens, Angelina? What have we just learnt?
It's like we
pushed her over the edge.
Yeah, I think that she was listening. She thought, you know what, I'm just going to announce it. Yeah. So Chelsea captain, England international Millie Bright has announced her retirement from international football with England. Not a massive surprise, I would say. Obviously, she has been absolutely fantastic for England. She was part of the side that won the Euros in 2022. A very, very important centre-back for England and for Chelsea. But she made the decision to withdraw from being selected for the Euros this summer that we saw England win again. The reasons for that was due to a couple of different things, having a few niggles, wanting to give her body a rest. She's into her 30s now. She's had a couple of injuries, so she wanted to prioritise her body.
Do this, when they get to a certain age, they think, if I don't play international football, it'll preserve my club career.
She's got Champions League. She's playing a lot of football for Chelsea.
And this is the thing with Millie Bright, whether people agree or not, she has won the Euros in 2022. She made the decision to not go again. She did miss out on that medal, but she's achieved a lot with Chelsea. She was part of the Invincible team last season, and the way that she's been speaking, even in the lead up to this WSL season, she wants to win the Champions League. And in order for her to win the Champions League with Chelsea, she needs to be around. If it doesn't happen this season, next season, if she wants to be around for a couple more seasons to ensure that happens, maybe even win it more than once, she's got to be at her best. And maybe this is why she's made the decision. Also, we've seen it happen a couple of times, with somebody like Fran Kirby, who I think she was pretty much told that she wasn't going to be in the Euros team. was a bit of a shock for me because she's a fantastic player. She's still playing for Brighton. I know Adrian Durham was devastated that she wasn't at the Euros because I know he's a big fan of hers. But, she made the decision, right, I'm not going to be in the team, then maybe I'm just going to retire. So it could have been a situation where Sonia Bonpastor has spoken as the Chelsea manager that her and Serena Wiegman have a lot of open conversations. Chelsea were aware that Lucy Bronze was going to the Euros with a fractured leg. So they do communicate. And so maybe Serena has had a conversation with Millie and said, you know what? I feel like maybe we've got a bit of a changing of the guard here. Sure. I want, maybe she wants people that are 100% committed to playing for England. And she's just thought, you know what? We've got some young talent coming through. Like I mentioned before, Maya Letizier for Manchester United, Katie Reid for Arsenal, amongst others. So maybe she just thought, you're not in my plans, so Millie's made the decision, or she's made it off her own back, we're unsure. Well,
congratulations there on a great career.
Fantastic, yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be more on that later on. Angelina, thanks for popping back in.
Thank you.
That's us. We'll return tomorrow. Coming up next, I'm sure that'll be touched on in the show. Lots of other stuff as well. Ahead of Wales, ahead of England. It's Andy Goldstein and Darren Bentwood Drive. We'll see you tomorrow.